Well, hello and good evening. Just checking all the systems go here. I think we're okay. I hope we're okay. Welcome to the show. I'm just checking a few things. Are we okay? Let me just do all that. Hi, welcome everybody. This is Paul English Live. We're here on Thursday. Yeah, there we go. We got a little bit of signal. Sorry, I'm just checking a few doodads as we do at the beginning. A kind of interesting show tonight. I think technically it has the potential to be the funnest bit of meltdown in all times. But hopefully it's going to be pretty good. We've got three guests lined up for tonight. Graham Moore, we should be connecting up with in a couple of minutes' time, courtesy of his Rumble channel. Then in hour two, we've got Miles Johnston has just come through and said he can make it from 9 till 10. And then Eli James is going to be here with us from 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock. How about that? Isn't it fun? Anyway, Paul English Live, welcome to the show. Let's talk weather. We always talk weather at the beginning. By gum, it's bloody hot, isn't it? It is here. I've got so much water in here, I could start a swimming pool. Hi everyone, looks like we're all systems go as far as I can tell. I'll soon find out anyway. So shout out to everybody on WBN 324. Shout out of course to everybody on Food for Thought Radio, fftradio.com. Very busy live schedule today. 7 hours of shows from 4 right through till 11 o'clock at night. So it's pretty cool, I think. I'm quite chuffed about all that. It's all going pretty well. Also, shout out to everybody on YouTube and Rumble. We understand, certainly all the signals here are telling us that the signal's going through okay, which we hope it is. And as I was saying there just at the beginning, we've got slightly a different arrangement tonight. I'm on standby. We're going to try and do incestuous radio broadcasting. It's never been tried before. Actually, it probably has. But we are going to hopefully join Graham Moore's full English show. He names his shows correctly, of course, as do I. So he's got the full English show. He goes out just about every night of the week on Rumble, I think, and this is his Thursday night show. We're trying to cross-pollinate the shows, so I'm just on standby waiting to go into his studio, and hopefully Graham's going to be here, and we're going to be there for the first hour, which is super weird. But whilst we're waiting, I want to find out how hot Eric von Essex is. Eric, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
How hot are you?
Well, my office at the moment, it is 32.5 degrees and it's south facing. It is, what's it hot? It's sweltering hot, yes.
Is it that hot?
And I've even got the fan going and it's blowing hot air in. So, I mean, but has anybody else found this? That you just feel completely drained all the time. You don't feel like everything, you feel lethargic because it's so hot. But I'm not complaining, I like the heat. But it's not necessarily the heat, it's the humidity. This country, being an island, is very humid. Mm-hmm. And when they were doing the film, was it Metal Jacket? And they're filming it in Docklands. It was this time of the year. And the advisors to the film, that was about Vietnam, said that the humidity was almost the same as Vietnam. And they didn't have to put artificial perspiration on the actors. It was genuine perspiration. It was really humid. So there we go. Not many people know that.
Not a lot of people know that.
No, it's a very boring fact, that is.
It's not. It's very humid here. It is humid. We're not allowed to actually have flagging energy for the next 3 hours. We've got to actually knock it out of the park right through to 11 o'clock, and then we collapse. and
Yes.
onto our beds. I'm just beginning to think that we've got a technical hitch here straight away in getting through to Graham's studio. For some reason, I'm on hold for quite a while. Don't really know. I'm just waiting to be allowed in. You know what it's like. Permission.
Yes.
Permission. It's
like
permission
standing
culture.
outside a lavatory, isn't it?
It really bloody
public
well is.
convenience.
Absolutely.
Right, hang on. I'm going to go over to Graham's show and see whether he's saying anything. So let's have a quick look. What is it called now? Is it called Graham Moore Live or something?
I think it's got a problem with me with camera access. I don't have a camera, you see. I literally don't have one. Why would I have a camera? So anyway, say something interesting, Eric, while I go off and fiddle with this.
I'm going to say something interesting. I'm going to have a look at it. I'm into the Full English show now.
Right.
So let's have a look. And live, I'm going to press live, see if he's saying anything. Graham...
he's normally there by now, isn't he? This is a world's first. It's probably not, as I said, but it's a first for this show.
There's nothing saying that he's going live.
Oh, right, okay.
Nothing at all.
Fair enough.
Yes, I'm a fairy. My name is Nuff. Fair enough. Sorry. Yeah, there's nothing at all. If anybody else knows anything, let's have a look. Oh, super. No. There's nothing at all that says he's live.
Well, I've just sent him a little...
heck is he?
I've just sent him a little message. He may have, I don't know, maybe the URL for the studio's changed. It's always exciting stuff at the beginning of the shows, isn't it? Anyway, let's just talk about what's been going on this week at FFT Radio. Quite a few things, actually. In fact, too many things. What have we got? Have we had new shows start this week? We jolly well have, you know. David Edelman started a Tuesday night spot, 6 till 7 p.m. That was a cracking little show. Really good, and he sounds great, and that was a lot of fun. 1 hour a week, bit of a blast. Quite enjoyed that. That was on Tuesday. Now, yesterday, we were all lined up to do a lot of things, but certain things didn't happen. Unfortunately, Victoria Rickson couldn't do her show yesterday at 9 o'clock. Kizzy did a great show at 6 and is now after more hours, which is pretty cool, really. So she wants more hours. So I think very soon she's going to be going from 5 till 7. Oh, here we go.
Paul
on my screen. I've got
Yep.
my hearing aids. I'm going to try and see if I can actually
I got him.
get this to work.
Good evening, Graham.
Actually doing something in the background. Support is in the background as we speak.
Good evening, Graham.
Go on a presentation.
He's actually in your studio, I think, Paul, because I can hear him.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking.
Oh, I know that.
Good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me, Graham?
I can hear you perfectly well.
We can hear you perfectly well, so this is great. Should we stop now while we're ahead?
Oh, well, we could do. So are you coming on screen with your own video or just your app at your...
I'm such a prehistoric person, Graham. I don't even have a video camera. How about that?
That's what I like to hear. I'm trying to see whether it'll let me actually put you on a screen side by side, but it won't. Never mind. Go on.
Well, everybody can hear me, and we can hear you. So I was just blithering on. We've made our little start over here, and this is the first time I've ever done an incestuous radio show with anybody, because we're broadcasting in your channel, and you're broadcasting in ours. Isn't that cool? Hey?
That's very good.
It is.
And can you do call-ins?
We can take call-ins, yeah. If you want people to call in, and we can pick them up in the studio and then patch through, and they can grill you or grill me or just fall asleep at the phone. Yeah, they can do that. You'd have to know where to go. They'd have to know where to go.
Let me make sure my audience. Can you hear Paul English? To my audience, in other words, can you hear the other person talking?
Of course they can. I've wired it all up perfect. We've got a multi-channel mixer here, and I think I've done it right. But we can certainly hear you at this end, Graham. So hopefully, if you are hearing me, your audience should be.
My audience are all saying 5v5. They can all hear you, so that is fantastic.
Brilliant.
Well done, that man. What a bit of technology there is there.
Oh, you what? Yeah, I'll tell you what, I have so much technical trouser problem at the start of the show. It's unbelievable. It's why I wear shorts now. There's no point wearing trousers anymore. So it's all been a bit tricky. But anyway, look, it's great to connect up with you and get you on the show. Even, we've got an hour here to chug through things. And what I'd sort of labelled the show as here at our end is, so, who are the British, Graham? Who are they?
Who are they? So it depends if you want the long story or the short story.
We've got an
The
hour, so
short
you time
story,
it just as you see fit.
right? Well, the short story is a legal fiction created by the British Nationality Act of 1948. There is a particular part of that act which is unlawful and unconstitutional because it removed the protections from the English, Welsh, Scottish, Irish, and Cornish. And what I mean by remove protections, there was a Schedule 4, in other words, hidden, not put on the face of the bill, that removed part of the Act of Settlement of 1701, which meant that prior to the British Nationality Act, one, we were all English, Welsh, Scottish, Irish, and other in the British Isles.
Right.
But most importantly, what it did, unfortunately, and it's never been brought up and challenged in the High Court, and it should be, is it removed the requirement under English constitutional law that to be a member of Parliament, House of Lords, police constable, mayor, or any other profit or authority in England, in particular, you had to be born of English parents or Dominion. So at this time, Scotland was regarded as a Dominion. Ireland was regarded as a Dominion. Certain other places were regarded as Dominions, including the United States of America at the time.
Right.
But they extradited themselves from that. So is Southern Ireland, because they created their own constitution and become a republic, a full-on republic, in 1936, 1937. So the short answer is, who are the British? Currently, it is a legal fiction handed to anyone. So anyone can be British, don't matter who you are. Anyone can be British. And
Yeah.
the worst part of that, the worst part of that is if you declare yourself as British and you're an indigenous person, so you're English, Scottish, Welsh, or Irish, or Cornish, you lose all of your rights as an Englishman under the English Constitution because you're in fact self-declaring that you're not English.
Right. It's like a default position. So you're either or as far as they view you.
Well, you must always stand up and say, I am English. What they do is then wave, many times they will wave a passport and say that passport says British. The passport references what's known as a unitary state in law, not a country. So it's an authoritative state. And really and truthfully, we've been suckered into via our Parliament and the Acts of Union of 1706, 1707, and we've brought Roman law into a common law jurisdiction, which never works well, and it's proving the point today. So that's the short answer.
Yeah.
If you want to give a longer answer to British,
Well,
I can
it's
tell you.
just even as an aside. Yeah, I don't mind a longer answer. I was just obviously that word floats around in our culture all over the place. I've heard it about 5 times today on the news and stuff like this, and you see it in video clips, and we're the British and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, if we keep using that word, we're basically reinforcing our own misunderstanding of exactly what is the word status here, or is it another word to describe a word like that? Is this describing our supposed status, or is it to do with our race, our ethnicity? I just prefer race myself. I can't be doing with ethnicity. It's far too many syllables.
Yeah. So if you regard yourself, if you regard yourself as British, you're putting a legal fiction, which is unnatural, created by Parliament, on your forehead and declaring yourself as British. I'm English. I am a natural Englishman, if you want to put it that way. Our tribe, bound together over nearly 1,100 years. So UNESCO describes us as, if you look at the definition of indigenous, an indigenous population. We're regarded as indigenous. In fact, the English are more indigenous than the Maori of New Zealand. The Maori of New Zealand have only been there for 750 years. We have been here for the best part of, well, when I say we, if you look at England as one nation since 927, 1100 years. Prior to that, we were several separate kingdoms of the Anglo-Saxons and the Jutes that all come together. Obviously, we had problems with the Vikings and the Danes, etc. But in the end, we gelled into one. The Scots, so this is getting back into the longer answer to this. The Acts of Union in 1706, 1707 started out life as a treaty between the two countries. Now, anyone who knows anything about international law should understand, and there's this very short video by someone called Thomas Massey on YouTube.
Yeah, I know Thomas. Is it the Thomas Massey who's a politician in the States? Is it that one? That guy?
That's him. Yeah.
Yep.
So he actually gave a 5-minute brief overview of the difference between a treaty and a domestic law. And a treaty is sovereign to sovereign. This is in short, but he did it in 5 minutes and explained it very well. So a treaty between Scotland and England is between the separate sovereigns or monarchs, right? In order to bring a treaty into domestic law, meaning if you make it an act of parliament, that means it's between subject and monarch, right? So, in other words, the monarch can enact that in law, give consent to it, and then the treaty becomes domestic law. That's the only way you can get a treaty administered in England, is it must be brought into domestic law. One example of that is UNCAT, which is the United Nations Convention Against Torture, which was ratified by the sovereigns, right? So there's a number of sovereign states that ratified it and signed up to it. But it was actually brought into domestic law with the Criminal Justice Act 1988, Section 134, torture, right? So that means it's a serious criminal offence and it's recognised in domestic law. So that just gives you an example of how you can bring in a treaty into actual domestic law. So getting back to the Acts of Union, they were two separate. So one's for the Scottish Parliament, one was for our Parliament. Nowhere in there did it say that this creates a nationality of British. The identities of Scots and the identities of English and Welsh and Irish were kept completely separate. No one expected that anyone would have this, ever would have this argument.
Right.
Our ancestors just couldn't foresee anyone at a future date doing what's being done to us now. It is highly treasonous. So for everyone to understand why did so I often say this to people, why is it that it come about, the Acts of Union? And the direct answer to that is quite simple. Let me make sure I've got this right. The Scots. So let me just make sure I get this right. So after the Bill of Rights and the Glorious Revolution, we've got a king called King William. He's also the King of Scotland. We had a convention parliament for just under a year, right? Scotland's convention parliament, believe it or not, went on for 14 years. And in that time period, not long after the actual claim of right from Scotland and the Bill of Rights come in effect, and all of the Glorious Revolution laws that come into effect, a Scot called John Paterson created, as one of the co-founders, believe it or not, the Bank of England.
I knew.
In 1694.
Yeah.
Right?
He was the front man for it. Wasn't he the front man? I view him as a front man.
I wouldn't say him. He wasn't actually. There's a lot of conspiracy theories about this, and just in case anyone's sort of watching, right? Your members won't be able to see this, but um, as you can, people watching online can see that this is a massive, great big law book. Right? This is the earliest Halsby's Laws of England, second edition, volume one, Lord Halsham. Right?
Couldn't you get a
So
bigger
to
book,
tell,
Graham? It's a bit small, is it?
sorry,
Couldn't you get a bigger book?
right. So for your audience who can't see this, it's 4 inches of solid paper, and in this book, it tells you in the back exactly how the Bank of England was created in law, and all of that information is in there. And that is so heavy. I had to drop it on the floor rather than put it on the floor.
So if we look at that timeline just prior to the Bank of England, if we look at the 1600s, because this is the run-up then to this change, we've got Cromwell, and we've got the so-called English Civil War. Then after that, we've got him as Lord Protector for a while. I don't know how long it was, 14 years or something, was it? Something like that.
Yeah, 12 years.
Yeah, and then Charles II, tries to come back and take the crown. That's all smashed in. And then we get to 1688, which is William of Orange and the Glorious Revolution. He comes in from Holland on the back of a bunch of merchants, right? And as I understand it, Graham, he came in because, you can correct me if you like, if you've got something different to say. I was just going to say that he came in on the proviso, they backed him and paid for his ships, that he would create a central bank that they would be the primary shareholders of. The people from...
No.
No.
That wasn't the primary reason he was brought in. So first of all, it is a misnomer that we was invaded, and it was all to do for the Bank of England. That is not what it was about. And just to make sure everyone's aware, 3,000 of our troops exiled themselves to Holland and lobbied the king as a Protestant king because the Protestants were being persecuted by the Catholics, right? So
in Holland or in England?
No, in England. So they left England. 3,000 troops left England, and they lobbied for the king. And so there was already issues in France and a number of other places with Protestants and the Catholics. Cut a long story short, strategically, he needed to help England, right, and to bring it back the way it should be, which is without any papal authority, which is exactly what they did. And the army changed sides as soon as he got here, and they knew it was all on. The army changed sides. The king basically got a nosebleed. There's a big long story to this. Run away, got in a rowing boat, threw the seal of England in the River Thames.
Yeah.
And the main debate at the time was whether he abdicated or absconded. And they finally come to the decision that he abdicated by deed, right? So you don't have to declare abdication. You can, if you
he did it as an action. I'm abdicating now. Look at me in this boat. Yeah, I'm off.
Yeah.
Right, got
and
it.
he's through the Great Seal of England in the River Thames. So what happened, the reason why the Bank of England come about was we had been at war with France for something like 12 years, right? And we didn't have any money. The merchants who had the money, they was also businessmen, and they had to find a way of so they didn't mind giving money to the Crown and to Parliament and to rebuild England. But they wanted to get a corner out of it. It wasn't them creating the wars. All they want to do is trade and do whatever, right? So there were specific legal safeguards to the Bank of England. One of them was you can only have a maximum holding of £10,000. Now, not being funny, £10,000 then was a lot of money.
Yeah, it was. It was huge. It's not. It won't go amiss today, to be quite honest. But back then, it must have been a bloody fortune.
So again, £10,000 there. So King William III was one of, only one of the largest shareholders, and although I don't think he was a director, I think there was 24 directors. There was a governor and a deputy governor, But the whole point of this is the person who created it and set up the structure was Scottish, and his name was John Patterson.
Yes.
After a year, he fell out with the Bank of England. He was a bit of a fly by night, and he went back to Scotland. And then what he did was created and pushed through the Scottish Parliament an act which basically created a trading. Well, this is what he told them he was doing: creating a trading company with the authority of Scotland. That allowed them to trade with Africa and the East Indies and India, right? So, but there was already a trading company in place called the East India Company, which was English.
Set up in 1600.
Well, again,
yeah.
What people have got to realise is they then changed the terms because they tried to raise. Now, think about this: £600,000.
Yeah.
Right, in 1695, they lied to the Scottish Parliament saying exactly what they wanted the money for. The English pulled out of it because King William said, listen, he was then advised that this actually went against the interests of England, right? So he then pulled the ticket on it and said, I'm not granting that as an act. And the ministers, the Scottish ministers that allowed it to go through, and he considered had lied to him, he sacked them, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot more to the story that people don't realise. Then they changed the mission statement, and they only raised 220,000 for this company. And instead of trading, they've tried to create a colony called the Isthmus of Panama. It was on the Panama Canal, right?
Yeah.
So
what is an isthmus? What is it?
An isthmus means an area close to water.
Okay, it's a lovely word.
So basically, what they did was they then tried to colonize this area. Spain had already colonized it. So they then went up against, just think about this, everyone, a superpower of the time, which was Spain, with a fraction, bearing in mind, again, they've raised 220 grand. And just to make sure everyone's aware of this, the total liquidity of Scotland at the time was £800,000.
Right, so over 25% of their entire economic or purchasing power base was sunk into this. Right.
Yeah. Right.
That's considerable.
But it gets worse, Paul. Right.
Right.
A Scottish pound to buy 1 English pound, you needed 12 Scottish pounds. It was a completely separate currency. It was a Scottish pound, and there was English pound sterling backed by sterling. Right.
Yep.
So our currency, we had a very strong economy. Right. That Scotland was always trying to undermine and do all sorts of stuff in the background.
You nasty Scots, you.
Well, what they did was they sent this fleet out there,
right?
And they got and then they come unstuck fighting the Spanish, not just once but 3 times. They got beat all 3 times. They lost over 2,000 men and their best men. Right, bearing in mind the population of Scotland was only 1 million. Right. So if you think of 2,000 of best men and 220 grand, which basically bankrupted them, right? So they're in trouble. They then kept asking the English king at the time, who was also the Scottish king, can we have a union? King William said no, because English and Scots are too tempestuous, right? You don't like each other. It's not going to work, right? So they asked for this political union, and then when he died, they pushed it through with Queen Anne, and there was a few minor changes to the articles, and basically that's how it went through. So the Scots are telling people that this all the big bad Englishmen and we did this and we did that. The Scots, so the ruling classes and the merchant classes of Scotland and the ruling classes and the merchant classes of England, which isn't the normal people of England and Scotland,
No.
come together. Some people regard them as spivs, some people regard them as elites, some people regard them as the banking class, right? But what really happened is that we assisted. We then, as part of the actual union, give them 300 of actual English money,
Mhm.
give them 398 grand to bail them out of trouble, so they didn't have a civil war up there. Because there were still problems with the French, and we didn't want the Scots siding with the French because that's all they've ever done, right? So we bailed them out, and you've heard the expression "too big to fail."
Well, I think we've
The
all heard
people,
that one recently. Yeah, they've been pounding that into your
right?
head. I think that
Right.
applies to the banks, apparently, and only to the banks, just about.
Well, so if people really do understand this, they must understand that the real first proper bailout that ever occurred in effect, a socialist nation that wasn't doing very well, right, was bailed out by England, and yet England gets to blame for everything that's gone on, and so that's the longer story of how it come about. And the Scots will never tell you the truth, even though I can get the books out now, original books, hundreds of years old, that tell you the whole story.
Right. That's quite a chunk of stuff I didn't know there, Graham. That's really rather
Yeah,
fab.
I mean,
Yeah, that's
there's loads
tremendous
more.
stuff. Yeah, I mean, the
But
thing, what do they say about our relationship with the Scots? I mean, I don't feel, I grew up with Scots in Leeds as a kid. I've mentioned it before. And some Scottish wag, some comedian said, the relationship between the English and the Scots goes something like this. You English, you quite like us, and we Scots hate you. It's a joke. And you don't mind anyway. You still go on liking us. And I think there's sort of some element of truth in that. I think things have changed a little bit. I mean, I don't know. Does this make me a traitor, Graham? Am I on thin ice here saying this sort of stuff? But I've never felt any animosity really to just my view, I suppose, not really as a Briton, although I've obviously used that word. In fact, I heard today that so we got just on these words, we've got British, we've got Britain, Britain. We've got Britons, Britons.
Yeah.
What is the difference between the three? You've done British,
Oh, right.
yeah, but it's interesting because I think of Britain currently, before you're about to speak, so you can correct me, as an area of land that includes all of these islands, including. I think of Britain, probably wrongly, as Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, Wales, all the 3,500 little islands around it. These are the Isles of Britain. But then they call them the British Isles, don't they? So that's probably muddled as well as we plough into this.
Yeah. I'm writing this down as you're saying. So you said Britain, Briton.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one?
Oh, it's British, really. Anybody got any more? I can't think of any others, really.
Right. So I'll start with them three.
Okay.
So Britain is an island. It is not a country. Great Britain, the reason why it was originally referenced as Great Britain was because we was the only island in the world that was home to three independent nations: Scotland, England, and Wales.
Right.
That's why they called us Great Britain, and that's why the actual island, without the islands,
Mm-hmm.
just the mainland, if you want to call it that,
Yep.
was called Great Britain.
Right.
So Great Britain is not, I repeat, not a country. It is an island, and that is recognised in English law. In these law books, it tells you when there's a conflict of laws, Scotland is just as foreign as a nation as Germany or France.
So it's an area, isn't it? I did think of it like that. I didn't think of it as a sort of country, as one thing.
Yeah.
I've just thought of Britain as being these land masses, which you've just explained. So that's
exactly that. And then you've got the British Isles. So technically, Ireland is part of the British Isles, right?
right.
But Ireland especially Southern Ireland, is a separate nation and a republic on its own right. Northern Ireland is common law jurisdiction. Wales is a common law jurisdiction. It's a principality. It's no longer a country in its own right. And it was a half Welsh king that did that in 1536. It was nothing to do with anyone living today. If they wanted to return to complete independence, I would say I ain't got a problem with that, as long as we put a very large border up. And if you want to trade with us, not a problem. But there are tariffs.
Yeah.
That's the way we used to do it.
Of
right?
course.
So,
yeah, I can imagine it was. Yeah.
So getting back to Britain, right? This is a fantastic term. Britain can be a Scot, an Englishman, a Welshman, right?
A Briton, Briton, a Briton. It
Correct.
can be that.
Right.
Okay.
It is completely distinct from British. British was created by the British Nationality Act 1948, right? That's when that term British as a citizen come about. That's so. In other words, we've only been called British in law since 1948. Prior to that, we were Britons, right? So you could say, I am a Briton, but by the grace of God, I am English.
Yes.
Right? That is a proper term, and people need to understand it. So a Briton is that. So but an Irishman, whether he's Northern or Southern Irish, is not a Briton technically, because he's not on mainland Britain. He's part of the British Isles. Same as a Manc, right, who comes from the Isle of Man. And by the way, people don't realise the Isle of Man is completely independent. It wasn't never in the European Union. It has its own parliament. It only relies really on England, in effect, for protection. But it also is the closest to what's known as a lodal title. In other words, if you buy a property there, it's your property outright.
Yes.
And the people that are part of the Isle of Man, as part of that allodal title, they govern themselves completely. And that is why they have a separate banking system to the rest of the UK. It's why they was never in the European Union, for example. And
I like the sound of it a lot.
Well, Northern Ireland should be the same, technically.
Right.
And then it should come up under as a protectorate of England, but be completely independent. Don't forget, my main thing is self-determination, the number one human right. So to protect the indigenous people, I believe the only way that you're ever going to do that now is to reverse the Acts of Union. Because, by the way, if you void the Acts of Union, it means any law made from 1707 is null and void. Any stare decisis that relied on any of them laws. So you scrap all of this bad law. You scrap. Some people won't like this, but you would scrap the Balfour Agreement. You would scrap the Palestinian Mandate of 1923. It's all becomes void with English independence. And here's the crucial bit. Now, if people understand that, they understand why it is that the British and certain financial backers of the British will not allow anyone to talk about English independence.
Because it's a domino effect that leads to the situation you've just been describing, or it easily could.
Exactly. So who has the greatest interest in England always being, or even divided up into regions or devolution? Who has the greatest influence over that? Who really wants that to happen so we become completely destroyed? And the answer is the group of people I just described. Who would benefit the most from destroying England so they survive?
Yeah. So this Act of Union in 1707, when it was made, was it in breach of any prior of these laws in perpetuity, such as the Bill of Rights or any of the other documents that you're very well versed in? Did it breach anything, or was it in alignment with stuff at the time?
It was largely in alignment, and largely For example, it gives certain protections to the Protestant faith, and Presbyterian Church in Scotland forever. There's a number of articles in the Acts of Union. I can't remember exactly how many. Something like 27 times it says forever, and anywhere in a constitutional document that it says forever, it means forever. A.V. Dicey has actually said that. That the statement statesmen of the time who created that law knew exactly what forever meant. And it meant that it was to bind future parliaments. So when you look at what they've done, and the attacks have mainly been on England, certainly not on Scotland. If you think about Scotland having free university education, the English don't have that. In fact, it's the English paying for it. The Scots get free prescriptions. The English don't get that. The English pay for that. Parking facilities mainly in Scotland. There's very, very few. All hospitals in Scotland are free parking, and the reason for that is because the English pay for it. So once people understand, the people being damaged the most by this union is England.
Well, I felt that instinctively for a long time. I wouldn't have thought of it, of course, the way that you've clearly described it in terms of it being the acts of union. But it's in simple sort of layman's language, we more than appear, to not have a voice in the outcome of our own affairs, to the degree that the other sort of supposed, sub-nations, if you want to call it. So England's the big baddie in all the roles. And yet the English themselves don't even have their own parliament, do they? It's not an English parliament, whereas the Scots do. I think the Welsh do as well, don't they?
Well, that's a misnomer.
Right, okay.
If I went into detail about that, you'd get it straight away. So Holyrood is not a parliament. It's an assembly.
Right.
Scotland has become a region of the European Union. London has its own assembly separate to the British Parliament. It is a region of the European Union. Wales has an assembly. It's not a parliament. To call it a parliament is wrong.
Right.
Because it is if when we voted to come out of the European Union, what should have happened is they should have made null and void as unconstitutional, because it went against the Bill of Rights, the European Communities Act of 1972. Instead, they went into a repeal. Well, repeal means that you've left in place a lot of these laws and the stare decisis backing it up. Whereas if you make it null and void and unconstitutional, which is what the people did via a referendum, that would have solved the problem. But again, it's because people don't understand the Constitution. They don't even understand the meaning of the words. But getting back to your point...
Do you think it's surprising, Graham, that people don't understand the Constitution? I mean, if I just take myself as an example, it's not that I lack curiosity. I've been sort of sticking my nose in other areas. There's so many things to dig up. Everywhere you go, you come across what feels to me like excessive complexity. And, of course, this stuff is not taught, is it, to us at school?
Used to be.
Yeah, I bet it did. But I mean, obviously, as part of a sort of cultural canvas that you grow up in, if this word Constitution, the Bill of Rights, which of course are familiar terms to you, you've been using them for years, and to many others, no doubt your core listeners as well, but probably outside of these circles, it's rarely mentioned. You mentioned to me in this little phone call that we had earlier today that Rupert Lowe had just mentioned the Constitution. He must be one of the few MPs that's ever said that within recent memory. As far as I'm aware, I don't know.
So getting back to two points there. First, I'll start with Rupert Lowe. He said to Joe Rogan yesterday, roughly 10 minutes into that interview, that he intended to go back to individual empowerment, which means the common law, right?
Yes.
And to go back to the original Constitution. That is a very, very powerful statement.
So he's looking like the least worst option by a country mile, isn't he? That's how I phrase it in the political sphere. I don't expect ever to not be disappointed simply because they don't have full sort of control over all things, even though they sometimes pretend that they do currently. But if it makes him the least worst, and by such a degree, I almost feel like he's fighting a rearguard action, but it's worth fighting. It might turn into an attack at some point. But, I mean, that is encouraging.
No, it is encouraging.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, he's actually brought up the Bill of Rights in the Houses of Parliament. A week later, he was sacked by Reform. So that gives you an example about how terrified people are to mention in that House
Yes.
the English Bill of Rights, because they do know that they are committing treason. But
So
getting back to the other point about
Yes,
the British Parliament,
Yep.
just to make sure everyone's aware of this, there are no English MPs in that Parliament. You've got Scottish MPs, you've got Welsh MPs, you've got Northern Irish MPs, you've even got Cornish MPs, and then you've got British MPs. None of those MPs that should represent, and there's more to this, by the way, should represent England. They are not representing England. They're representing the British. Well, that means they can be anyone. And by the way, many of them people are foreigners because they're not born of English parents. But just give you another indication of this because it's really important.
Yeah.
So Scotland's got 57 MPs roughly in that House of Parliament. Scottish MPs from Scottish constituencies, right? But then you can have someone who is Scottish living in Surrey and getting elected. And the English, like mugs, elect him. And that's exactly what happened with Keir Hardie, who was the first Fabian elected member of Parliament.
We love the Fabians round here, Graham. Do you love them in your neck of the woods? They're great guys, aren't they?
They're the most disgusting people ever. But the point being...
They are. They're very close up there. They're right at the top of the list. Yeah.
Keir Hardie
Yeah.
couldn't get elected in Scotland, so he come down to East London and got elected in East London and then represented Scotland. But we can't do that. If we try to get elected in Scotland, it'll be not happening, right? Try and get elected in Wales, not happening, right? Try and the only person I know who's English who got elected in Northern Ireland, there might be one or two others, and the Northern Irish are more English than the English.
Yeah, they are in a way. They are actually. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, but the only person I know is Enoch Powell.
Yeah. Where did he get elected? Did he go to Northern Ireland to get elected? Where did he go?
He lost his seat for the Conservative Party in England, and he went over to Northern Ireland.
That's it.
Northern Irish elected him. So again, the Northern Irish are fantastic people.
Yes, they are. I love the way they talk as well.
Yeah,
I do. They're full of fire. They're great. Yeah, they are. It's all good. I mean, the thing is, I tend to feel that there's more that binds us in common than separates us. The thing that separates us, by design, it appears to me, is the machinations of the so-called controlling class that have organised all these, what appear to the layman, massive complexities, and all these words to describe what should be a plain and direct situation. I'm a simple guy, really. I like to think, or let's put it this way, the more simply you think about things, the faster you can kind of grasp the essence of it. I over here, I tend to bang on relentlessly about the Bank of England because I'm not very happy with it. And that's an understatement. And I'm not going to bang on about it again, but I do it privately just about every day. Just going back to this word British as well, a thought occurred to me a few minutes ago when you were talking and going through those words. We've been raised, haven't we, on the British Empire, right? Was it called that then, prior to this 1948 Act? Or was it just called Britannica? That's another word. I mean, I know we've got the Encyclopedia Britannica. Apparently the 1906 version apparently is the one to get. Apparently that's before they started ripping all the words out and getting it all wet. But I don't have a copy. But was it called British back in the 1800s? Had that word been coined? Was it in sort of common parlance?
We did used to be known as British externally to England.
Right.
So if you went out to America, they would refer to you as British, but not. I mean, if you had a deal with them, they would you'd obviously be English. Everyone knew that there was a difference between English, even the First and Second World War. If you'd asked any of the soldiers what nationality you are,
Mhm.
they didn't say British. They would have said English, Welsh, Scottish, Irish, because this push on Britishness never happened until 1948. So just to make sure your audience are aware, we lost the Second World War, and
Oh,
we
I know that.
lost
I talk about that a
to
lot. Yeah, we absolutely lost it. Yeah.
the Soviets, right?
Mhm.
So
Mm.
where your pet hate is the Bank of England, and I understand that completely, right? And the Bank of International Settlements, all of that, central banking, the way England thrived, and the Magna Carta actually tells you that. I think it's Article 9. It didn't just protect the City of London; it protected all of the cities and towns of England, right? So you could all have your own financial institutions, but just to make sure your audience are aware, the Bank of England was nationalised in 1946.
So they say.
Well, it was nationalised in 1946. That means the state have took control, then because it's nationalised, the control of the board isn't the way it was operating prior to 1946, right? So when you understand what the Soviets do, the Soviets and communists nationalize everything, including the currency.
Mhm.
And that's basically what they did. And again, if you think about 1948 and the British Nationality Act, who pushed that through Parliament? Clement Attlee. What was he? A Fabian.
Oh, no. Yeah, I knew that. Well, haven't every or isn't it the case that every so-called Labour MP or Prime Minister has been a Fabian? They're basically the factory production line for them, aren't they? Isn't that what it is?
I
Was
think
Wilson, Harold Wilson?
all bar one. I
This
think
will not
was
Yes, he
shrink the
was.
pound in your pocket. You remember Harold Wilson and the pipe?
He was a
Yeah,
Fabian.
no,
Yeah, it was.
they're
He was a
Fabians.
Fabian. He was a very bright lad from Oxford, came from Huddersfield, and muttered a lot. He was supposed to be very intellectual, but not a very good leader. But I would have preferred him over Ted Heath. I'm not. Although that wasn't Wilson. He was being investigated for communist ties, which is.
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah, if you
Fabian.
think so, more of a factual point to highlight to people is that 79% of all prime ministers since the Second World War have all come from Oxford. And what I keep saying to people is Oxford is the spider's web with the communist spider sitting right in the middle.
Yep.
And when you understand that Bill Clinton went to went to Oxford,
He
and
was a
then he left
Rhodes
Oxford.
Scholar, wasn't he? The Cecil Rhodes
Well,
Fund. That's what he's known as. Yeah, it comes from
Well,
Rhodes.
he went to South Africa and
Yep.
assisted with the Fabian takeover of South Africa, and then they destroyed South Africa. The Fabians have destroyed New Zealand. They've tried to destroy America because you've got the international Fabians in America. They destroyed Australia. They're basically attacking. So the other thing for your audience to be aware of, prior to the Acts of Union, the American colonies were known as English dominions, right? And a dominion is different to a colony. So when they become British colonies, that's when they were centrally controlled. And within 70 years of the British technically existing from the Acts of Union, they was waging war upon the English colonies. And just to make sure, and this is not me having a dig, it's fact, it's a historical fact, the first regiments that attacked the English colonies or English dominions were Scottish regiments.
Yes, it's all a bit muddled, isn't it? It's not like it's in the movies, is it, Graham?
No, not
No.
at all. And again, people are not told the truth. There's a great guy on YouTube that tells the absolute truth about all of this, and he's a fantastic. He's an old boy, is a black guy. His name is Thomas Sorrell, and some of the stuff he comes out with about Scotland, I mean, the Scots are seething
Soul's
because he said,
fantastic. He's absolutely brilliant. I've got loads of clips from him. He's extremely articulate. He's a natural leader of his people in America. I don't know why he isn't doing that, but he's brilliant. Yeah, he is. He's a very gifted guy, and he's got some. He has a different type of observation about things. I remember him talking about the advantages that we had here. This is one of these little quirky things that I don't forget. The advantage that we have about having water all around us during this sort of industrial revolution period was simply to do with the fact that the fastest thing on land in Europe was a horse and cart. And it cost quite a bit. You've got to feed the horse, right, every 25 miles or whatever it is. I don't know much about horses. But if you've got coal in Newcastle, you want to get it down to London, you just stick it on a barge and float it down the coast. And I thought, good grief. And it's why we had such an advantage in terms of the country's relatively not that wide. We could get things moving really, really fast. It became a real sort of, of course, the plunderers took most of it out of people's pockets and stuck them in hovels, which is what Dickens wrote about in the 1800s after they'd sucked them all off the land. But this, okay, so it goes under the word Fabian right now, but basically I prefer commie because it carries with it a sting of disgust and a rebuke, as it should, because they're repulsive creatures. And that's what the Fabians are. It's just a grand name for them. Oh, we're the think tank. Oh, yeah, you organise all the ruin, do you? And that's exactly what they do.
I totally agree. I mean, I put a tweet out today, and on that tweet, I basically said, the Fabians are to communists what the Nazis were to fascism. They're the ideological organisation. That's it, right? So a Fabian is a communist, and the same as a Nazi is a fascist, and both of them are forbidden under English law. And if you read the Housery Laws of England, it actually tells you that communists and fascists must be purged from any position of state security.
Oh, I need to get that and put it on a T-shirt. I quite like the idea of a proper, honourable purge in many ways. I mean, I suppose you've got a problem if you're a commie fascist. These words are thrown about obviously as slurs now. So, I mean, when I'm in conversation, I go, look, you can call me what you like. I'm what do you want? Nazi, yeah, okay. Fascist, yeah, okay. Commie, no. I won't let anybody call me that. But all the other ones, because they've lost their meaning and weight in terms of true understanding of what they mean or what they initially meant. I think also the World War II thing is massively complex. I think, have you ever heard of a book, and we're just coming to the end of the hour here, so we've got to wrap up in a couple of minutes, actually, Graham, which is a pity, but it's not a pity because it means it'll set the stage for the next one, fingers crossed. There's a book called Red Symphony. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's an astonishing book. I thought it's one of the most revelatory books about the long-term planning of that second conflict, and it's all by design. And I remember Rakovsky, the guy that's been interviewed, said that communism and Zionism and all, he said, these are just pegs on which to hang an idea. We don't really care about this. Something else. You can feel it in all these things. And I think, for me, I've mentioned that what happened with Henry VIII kind of ushered something in here, this whole splitting of the church. That's got an external influence and force upon it. It's not none of these things feel natural. They all feel bogus. They feel cunningly planned by traitors, in the alleyways, whispering, as Cicero talked about, more to be feared than a murderer or an army at your gate. And they are. And look at, this is the ruin that we're in right now. But Graham, it's been fantastic being on your show and having you here on this one. I've really, really enjoyed it. I mean, we've only covered a couple of words, so we've probably got about 300 more episodes to do. Sorry about that.
No, that's fine.
You're on Rumble. Are you on Rumble? Let's just big you up a bit. So you're on Rumble every night of the week. Is that right? Monday to Friday, something like that?
I'm on Rumble every night from 8 p.m. live, normally to about 9, sometimes till 9:30, depends what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll give commentary about what's going on, whether we got any court cases, mainly covering constitutional law. And that's the main thing that I do. But I'm also on YouTube.
Yep.
Although I've been banned so many times on YouTube, I don't even bother with it. And we're also now on Twitter as English Exit.
Fantastic. I'll get those details from you in due course. That's absolutely That's brilliant. And of course, you've got a great name for the show, which is The Full English, right?
Yeah.
I keep thinking, Graham, if you're around in the mornings, I keep talking about doing a morning radio show, and I want to call it The Full English because that's what we should do. So this is still a couple of months away, but in the autumn, when I get a bit more things freed up, because I think a morning radio show would be a blast to do and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just planting a seed with you. But look, brilliant having you on. And speaking of the word English, you know Mr. and Mrs. English, don't you? So we've got a little song of theirs that we're going to play. We can play this. And then I've got another guest coming on in hour 2. But Graham, fantastic. I'll be in touch after the show at some point. Send you the recordings. Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. Really enjoyed it. Look forward to doing it again sometime soon. Here's Mr. and Mrs. English. Graham Moore, everybody. We'll be reconnecting up. Thanks, Graham. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
From Ethelstan's crown to the oak so grand, our roots run deep through this blessed land. By law and honor, by truth we stand. The English heart beats strong and planned. Raise the flag, let the red cross fly. For England's soul will never die. From the fields to the castle stone, the Constitution guards our home.
Graham's dancing away like a good one there on that video. Very embarrassing.
Our charter stands, our ancient guide. No tyrant's hand shall break our pride. For freedom's flame burns bright inside. The dragon sleeps beneath our might. The oak still grows in morning light. By English law, by English right, we hold the truth, we are the light. Raise your voice, let the anthem ring, for England's law and England's king. The Constitution, our sacred song, for England's glory, proud and strong. Raise the flag, let the red cross fly. For England's soul will never die. From the fields to the castle stone, the Constitution guards our home. Raise your voice, let the anthem ring,
That was Mr. and Mrs. English. That one was called Constitutional Dragon Heartbeat. Very groovy, I thought. Anyway, Graham Moore there for the last hour. That was fab. And as I was saying, I'll be in touch with Graham and hopefully we'll have him back on the show soon or whatever's going to happen. But things are going to keep happening. Anyway, welcome back to part 2, hour 2. And Eric's here and our guest.
Hello.
Hello, Eric. We've got a guest,
Hello.
Eric. We've got a guest
Hello,
here, which
guest,
is Miles
Eric.
Johnston. Hello. Hello, Miles.
Eric
Hi.
Miles Johnson.
Yeah,
That's a
Miles
strange
Johnston.
name.
It is.
No, Eric Miles Johnson. You just announced him. So is Eric here? Eric Miles Johnson.
Eric
Oh, sorry.
Miles Johnston is here.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Miles, you're muted. Do you want me to unmute you? I could do.
For God's sake, don't swear.
Yeah, don't swear.
Yes.
Whatever you do. No F-bombs. Not until after 10 o'clock. Okay.
No.
Right.
Hi, Miles. How have you been? Welcome to the show. Good to have you back. I can't remember when it was
Well-
we did one. 5 or 6 weeks back now, something like that.
Yeah. Well, we did a really brilliant thing with Matthew Williams.
Right.
Who's
Who's he? Who is he? I don't know who he is.
Okay, we're talking crop circles here, right?
Okay.
And we have loads of crop circles down here in Wiltshire. And if you want to come down in the blazing heat of the blazing, sweltering heat of the sunny, blazing heat,
Yep.
there's quite a few crop circles, and we've got a couple of different artists doing their thing. But like this whole thing is a psyop, crop circles.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have people from Harvard, or that's the one in the States, and all that sort of stuff, talking about fifth dimensional physics, examining stuff that's just been made by some people Anyway, the point is, Matthew delivered I said, look, I want a definitive show from you, Matthew. Tell us as it is, Anyway, like everybody, he's got more things to say. And so we did a show in my little studio here. And he explained a whole lot of things, and it's done really well.
Yeah.
But his mic slipped below his T-shirt. And I wasn't listening to everything. And occasionally the mic would get stuck. And it's I've got to do a take 2. So I've just been speaking to him.
Right.
The whole point of the crop circles is a perception management psyop.
Now, when did
So
they
once-
start crop circles? When's the first ones in recorded human history? Is it the 70s?
Well, this is the thing. A lot of this stuff was in damp or a swampland, I think, in Australia.
Really?
And these circles would appear, and they didn't know how this happened, and so it sort of came from over there. But it has been happening. You see, the whole point is that we have a huge, massive infrastructure of non-humans. I think we now call them NHIs, non-human intelligences, which has a much wider spectrum, right? That's the new word, or the new buzzword, non-human intelligence.
Oh, nice, lovely. I always like to pick up a bit of jargon. That's a good...
Well,
Ni.
this includes...
These are the knights that say ni, are they? NHIs. Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
NHIs, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a whack of stuff which is not necessarily in our... but there's a thing called pocket dimensions. If you're going to have an alien base, or if you're going to run a super secret series of bases, one of the... if you sort of put these big guard houses up and barbed wire and top secret, no access, it sort of gives the game away that, this must be a super secret base because it says so on a big sign outside. Lethal force will be used. So what they've been doing for quite a while, and there's a few people who live down the M3, M4 corridor remembers that if you went into the forest at this place, or near Farnham or Farnborough or whatever,
Yep.
and you went into the forest and you sort of went between the M3 and M4, there were some big buildings in the forest, and there's sort of stuff there, large things like buildings with more than one floor, and maybe car parks and helipads and things like that. But nowadays there's nothing there. You walk into the forest and then you walk out and you haven't seen anything. So people who don't know that just walk into the forest, they can't see anything. Although if I walk into the forest, suddenly dog walkers suddenly spring out of nowhere. It's like, Miles Johnston, here we go. You know.
It's Miles, get him. Get him, lads.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Well, they always know my name, you see.
Do they?
You're meeting you're meeting a complete stranger who's minding his own business, walking a dog, and then he says, "Yes, Miles." That old thing. I'm inquisitive. Sometimes I'll say, "Oh, what's this multi-core cable doing in the middle of the forest? There's nothing happening here, but this is a multi-core cable, obviously with a lot of stuff on it." And then suddenly you've got a dog walker sort of minding your own business, Miles. Bugger off, excuse me.
And would this be a dog walker that you've never set eyes upon before?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
I mean,
so they're sending
for
you little
instance,
messages. We know everything about you, Miles. That kind of stuff.
Well, I mean, for instance, we're not messing about here. Karen Dodd had the wheel nuts on her car loosened.
I know.
She's
I
lucky
heard the
to be
story
alive.
from her.
Yeah. I mean,
the whole thing fell apart. Yeah, that was quite a thing.
Yeah. So, the other one is Jane Shattuck. Jane's father was in the Royal Navy, and he was given access to Porton Down.
Was he?
And what he saw, he was so shocked. He could not believe that we're doing that. But the kind of things they're doing is they're trying to... let's not get that far. The point is that nowadays you're going to have full-scale alien bases. Well, we've always had them. We just now notice them. You'll have an alien base, like, for instance, there was a big fat base in Holborn Tube Station. And I've told this story many times before. But there's the big alien base underneath at Holborn Tube Station, which is also a Masonic hole there, and there's also a few other things. And it's got connection with Francis Bacon and a whole pile of other things. And that's all relevant. So it also had one of the longest... I mean, there's obviously now with the Elizabeth line and stuff, there's other really long escalators. This happened to have a massively long escalator. So when you got it, you had this big, long escalator. It was long because it was long. So when you get off the tube on a Sunday morning to go to one of the late Ian Crane's meetups in central London, this extremely long escalator's amazingly short.
Right.
As in very short, as in not long. Now, the point about this is I used to fly, when I was working with the BBC, Broken Biscuit Company, I was flying back and forth.
One.
Yeah, well, there's another. You can
We call
add
them the
another
Bolshevik.
couple.
I call them the Bolshevik Brainwashing Corporation, but the Broken Biscuit Company's quite good. It's definitely broken, of course.
Well, there are other names you could apply to that. How's about that then?
Competition, everybody.
Anyway,
Best prize wins a Fockham Hole pencil. Best answer.
Yeah. So the point is that another friend of mine, very, very pretty girl, she actually used to be a model, and she was very like Lady Di, and she got a lot of business as a Lady Di lookalike until Lady Di started talking about landmines, at which point the police says, I don't think it's a good idea you do any more gigs looking like Lady Di, because she could look really well like Lady Di. Anyway, so she sort of mentioned, Miles, did you notice that the escalator at Holborn Tube Station was very, very short? Now, the point about it is she could see this differential. It's called fluidic space. Okay? So you don't have stable 3D, right? So the reason why I mention that is every time we flew over roughly the Isle of Man, you're flying back and forth Monday to Friday, back to Belfast, and for 6 months. So you suddenly realise, oh, this aeroplane's got very long. And whoa, it's got very short again. And it happened to be in the same place, roughly, as you went over the Isle of Man. And of course, as you go over the Isle of Man, you've got the Lake District, that's full of ET bases and a whole lot of stuff down there. Whole whack of stuff. And it's also opposite to approximately Carniford Loch, which has got another big ET base in it, and etc., etc., etc. So basically, when you go through the boundaries of the projected realities you will see or experience. It's a bit like stealth aircraft. You might not see the stealth aircraft flying directly, but you might see it when it changes direction. You might see an occasional little echo, a little ping. And likewise, if you're going through a place which has got a false projected reality, or what we call a pocket dimension, it's the boundary area you go in and out of. That's when you'll see the error. What happened?
Yeah, quick question. How much credence do you give, or what's your view of? So you've used the word alien and alien bases. What's the possibility that these bases, these installations, and I accept that there's loads of stuff built that I'm fully not aware of all over the place. Is the alien and extraterrestrial base thing, could it be, or what's your view of, a cover for them to have highly advanced technology centers, and to keep everybody away, they create the impression that there's something rather strange about it, which shuts down another line of question, which is who funded this and all that kind of stuff.
All of the above.
Right. Okay.
And it's not alien. You see, this is one of the other traps that they've got us into. With, for instance, Einstein talked about space relativity and space-time. So you've got the phrase space-time, which is 3D plus time, and then time has to be linear. It's neither linear or it's just 3D. And this goes back to when they screwed around with the physics of the fundamental equations of electrical power generation. That they messed with a lot of the complex mathematics involved with what we call complex number space. And if you were taught the correct way to generate electrical power, all of the absolute rubbish about wind power and all that solar panel stuff, we wouldn't be using that. We would have been using what they were already using before something came and happened, and there were major issues, massive loss of population, and that's where the Tartarian stuff comes in.
Yeah, we're talking about all these sort of Cabbage Patch, all this has come into this space over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, or it did to me anyway. No doubt there was other people, but the great movements of children around the planet and all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Because they got rid of the adults, so you didn't have a spoken word memory link between what was happening or what had happened and the next generation. So that link was broken. So they could reinvent history, and now they're trying to do the same thing again. They want to have what a lovely war. They want us to have a war between Russia and the so-called West. And really, it's just a basic, and that's what Laura Eisenhower was talking about on Tuesday, and she talked about basically they need to harvest a lot of loose souls, and they've broken all these agreements, so they want to kill a lot of us so they can have a lot of cargo.
Yeah.
And that's what they were doing in Holborn Tube Station. They were actually taking whole tube trains in a pocket dimension, just like the BBC has shown you in Doctor Who. The BBC has been whistleblowing, and also with the TV series Blake 7, and I think one of my guests talk about that as well. ORAC is an AI machine that is connected to multiple other dimensions and realities. This is the whole thing about AI. The only reason that they're scared of AI is because they can't control it. Yes,
that's not so reassuring, is it, Miles?
Oh no, it's brilliant because when they tried to weaponize the sentient oil that they got from the Falklands War, it ended up killing a number of Marconi scientists. These are young scientists who are put. Now, this is all in open source. The whole point about the Falklands War was that the Germans. Again, this ties in with what Laura was explaining about on Tuesday about how they established New Berlin under the ice.
Laura Eisenhower, who was your guest on Tuesday, of the Eisenhower dynasty or family line.
Yes,
the Eisenhower line. Okay. Yep.
Yes, and what happened was that Eisenhower and the presidents of the era, there's another character in this called Valiant Thor and stuff like that, they signed a whole lot of agreements on behalf of humanity about how many humans can be taken in the tens of hundreds of thousands. And like all agreements with treacherous individuals, it's been way above that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, they signed agreements on our behalf, and this is what's all relevant with it, with the whole thing you're dealing with this government and all the stuff that's going on, all the shenanigans, and the so-called Epstein class, a special elite form of people who are so special, they're not going to take us, but they can take everybody else.
Right.
So, I mean, this is how rotten this whole thing is, and we'll sign this agreement. You're basically dealing with utterly corrupt people who think it won't happen to them. Well, it is happening to them, and they're getting a bit nervous. And that's what was going on at Holborn Tube Station. There was a grey base there. The greys were running it, and there's multiple types of greys and all that. And that's where we could end up if we continue on this path of being completely dumbed down and cyborgized. And that was one of the things they were doing
Right.
in Portendown, which was like the Dulce base in the United States. And of course, that's what the Germans were already dealing with before the war. They're making programmed, generated life forms or cyborgs. I mean, this is...
Yeah.
This
These
is all in
hundreds
Buck
of
Rogers.
thousands of people that are going to be taken, why? For food? Or for
Food
what? Yeah.
and loosh. I mean, I think we lose something like 400,000 in at least a year.
What? These islands do? Or the world?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah. Oh, no. There's huge numbers of people that just disappear.
So can't
You've
we have
gotta
a
be
people's
careful
database to actually all look after one another if that's going on? It's funny. I mean, I don't know.
No, but this is the whole point of the heel prick test. The heel prick test identifies your genetics. It identifies the genetics of the mother and the child, and that goes on your national. That's why we all need a national health service, which is 99% run by corporate conglomerates, well out of the control of everything else. And in order to feed them, you've got to die very expensively.
Yes, this is true.
No.
We can't actually. Yeah, you can't actually afford to die, though, can you? Well, you didn't. You couldn't afford to die, I think, back in the 1400s. The taxes that you had to pay, or your state had to pay, no one could actually afford to die. It was very expensive business dying.
Well, that's what they were doing in Iraq, and that's what they're doing with the Ukraine war. The Ukraine war are not the Ukrainians are not accepting the death rates of it's like something like 3, 4 to 10 to 1 Ukrainians dying. It's a loosh killing exercise. They want to do what they're doing in Ukraine. They want to do here. We have a hopeless. The point is that if they accept that 100,000 Ukrainians have died this month, they're going to have to pay their families a bill. They're going to have to pay for the families. But by not accepting that they have been killed, i.e. they let the Russians pick them up, and then when the Russians pick them up, they attack the Russians. Anyway, these are official Red Cross figures.
The Ukrainian thing, though, has got loads of, or at least quite a few sort of subtexts to it. I mean, one of them is the reclamation of that part of the world for a particular tribe of people. And, of course, the Ukrainians actually... let's call them Khazarians then. Yeah, we often call them the unmentionables for obvious reasons. So, I mean, they've been in charge of that nation, and they are, it seems to me, there's nothing different to this than what happened in Russia during World War II, which is that the actual Russians and the actual Ukrainians are being slaughtered by effectively their own supposed government. It's by design. There's no...
Well, yeah, but that's the point. That was the whole point of Stalin. Stalin was an asset of the precursor to the World Economic Forum.
I think so, killers. Yes, I agree with you on that. Yeah, he absolutely was.
Michael Shrimpton's done a whole thing on that, the DVD, and likewise our government here is run by the World Economic Forum through the DVD, a secret German...
Deutsche Wehrdienst. Yeah, I know. George Bush Senior was a member of that, wasn't he? The DVD, I think he was.
Yeah. So I'm glad you can pronounce it. But
I can't. I mullered it. I said it as quickly as I could, so
yeah.
nobody could hear me
Yeah,
cock it up.
yeah.
I haven't seen
So
it
I
for
mean,
years.
if you understand that we've been sold out, the elite, like all thieves and dishonest people, it won't happen to us. So if we are going to survive, have to become aware and broaden our horizons to accept a whole range of things, and this is why this whole disclosure rubbish from the United States, the CIA. I mean, the disclosure people in the United States have published known fakes or known officially accepted as this was a project that a radar technology, a drone or whatever, was to test things, and that's accepted. And likewise with the crop circles, one of the big things about the crop circles, we've got bent nodes, and these nodes, it's obviously done by microwaves. No, it isn't. It's a known thing that happens with crops. There's a particular type of starch or something in there. Once it's exposed to air, it turns black, and then it causes distortions. And this must be no, it's not. But they've known it, so they've totally lied to us. The specialists.
They're very pretty, though, aren't they? Some of them. They're very beguiling.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So, I mean, they're not crap circles, are they? They're quite good. So,
one of the people I had at the conference in June was a lady who saw very complex designs within the complexity of the formation. And this is the point. This is what Matthew was trying to explain, or he was explaining. They get their ideas in their own mind. There was one particular crop circle which was made overnight, and the East Field, I think the biggest field in England, apparently. Mm-hmm. Well, there was another design which complemented that, being made by another team of circle makers. Both didn't know the other was there, and both designs complemented each other. But now we know that there's a massive interdimensional gate. There's a portal underneath the East Field, and that is operational all the time. There's a whole range of bases, 20 layers down. We've got bases here with 2 different types of ET bases here and devices.
Who built all these bloody things, Miles? I don't remember.
Well, they do.
They do.
And they've been around a long time.
Yeah. This taps back into ancient stuff, does it? You think that sort of ruling class idea that's never gone away? Our makers, possibly?
Yes, well, you got the Anunnaki and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. And we're going to try and get a guy called John Irwin.
John, my mate. I know John really well, Miles. People keep pestering me to get him back on. Yeah, John, I used to speak to loads. Do you know Richard Cumbers?
Yes, I do.
Oh, well, Richard used to...
I'll be getting incestuous here.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad that's the second time that word's come up tonight, because the first guest that we had on, Graham Moore, we did incestuous radio. He has a show that goes out on Rumble, so we were feeding into that, and his show was feeding into here. That was so cool, and it actually worked. It was pretty good, actually. But yeah, Richard used to live... in the town that I'm in right now. In fact, he'd lived here most of his life, actually. He's not here anymore. He's now out in Ireland with Mark Atwood, or nearby to Mark Atwood. And Richard's an absolute firecracker of a guy. And it usually goes something like, I'm sat around on a Friday and the phone goes. He goes, I'm in town. Can you meet me at the pub in 10 minutes? It's like I have to drop my entire life.
The thing is, he'll know more about you and your habits than you do.
Yeah, he's a bit like that. That's why I'm not having him on the show. But yeah, it is incestuous. What a small, tiny little world of...
Well, the main thing is John Irwin's book is now available. I was able to sell a whole book, a whole box of that book.
The 16.
One step beyond
the
16.
Yeah. No, so people keep pestering me to get him on. I've got his number now, everybody. I will get round to it. I've just been up to my eyeballs in technical trousers stuff and things. And, you being on the show and us having 3 guests tonight is just part of me getting more and more elbow room to sort of keep building things up, which is good. I'd love to get John on. I saw a photograph of him. He looked pretty good. I think he's 88 now. But Richard keeps telling me you don't mess with him even at that age, and he's seriously interesting. You do not.
You don't.
You don't mess with him. He's an amazing guy.
He sent the head of the SAS packing. because
he
the
did.
SAS
He
are
did.
improperly trained.
His stories are absolutely. If you haven't read the 16, I gave it to my sons actually about 5 or 6 years ago. They were in their late teens at the time. They said, "Can we meet him? Can you take me up there? I want to get trained by him." I said, "Have you drunk any beer?" They went, "Yeah." I said, He won't touch you," because you know that thing about the alcohol. Is that I think that's in there. That was one of the first things that he replaced a guy that had spontaneously combusted in training because he had alcohol in his body. Because it's not a normal training. When you think of an assassin and stuff, everybody's thinking running around. He's so funny as well. I mean, I remember he must have had words with you along the lines. He said, "You see all those films?" I said, "Which ones?" He said, "You've got all these special forces and they're running around the desert and they've got these big backpacks on." I said, "Yeah." He said, "That's crap, that is." It's so funny. He said, "Why would I run around carrying 50 pounds of stuff?" He said, "You don't do that." He said, "Everything that you're fed on the media is to give you absolutely the wrong impression of what you do." It's blinding stuff that he's done. And his training, of course, is the most amazing bit, really. The fact that he knows all this
for
stuff.
Instance,
Yeah,
he's
for
an
amazing
instance,
guy.
the first thing you do is set traps, which will let the young of whatever you're trapping escape. So that young will then be around for you to feed off when it grows up.
Lovely.
You know, when you're animal traps.
So in the way that we keep cows domesticated, there is a view that says that we are to some degree, but in a much more sophisticated sort of way, because we've got larger brains, so we have to be deceived in a more subtle and thorough way, something like that.
Well, they're going to put a whole lot of octopuses in these horrendous tanks in the ocean. It's horrendous. They're highly intelligent beings.
They're astonishingly intelligent. Don't they have several brains? They're amazing.
They probably do, and the thing is that this way of, you know, I mean, the whole thing about everything eats something else. So one of the ways of ascension is to be eaten, and then you become.
I know, it's a
something
bit
else.
much, isn't it? Really, it's a bit much. It's as if everything in life is like just one big restaurant, and you just want to be the
that's
one
the
doing
point.
the eating.
Everybody eats somebody else, and this is one of the things that we're going to have. These very well-dressed non-humans. We're having a conversation in German, and I think I've mentioned this before. We're going to use about 80 babies tonight. And this other lady sort of said back to them in Germany, "This is shocking. It's terrible what you're saying. It's terrible." And they just said, "Well, you eat cows. We eat you. You know, what's the difference?"
Why? We can't be that tasty, can we? I mean, there's not even much meat on us. It's ridiculous. Maybe there is. I have no idea. Look how blasé I am talking about this. It's actually horrific in a way. Have you seen those? You must have seen photos, Miles. I'm sure you must. I remember seeing one. It looked genuine to me. It was a photograph of a human that had obviously been cooked at some big high society do. This is about 10 years ago. I thought, I don't want to look at this crap. I didn't dismiss it as being sort of made up.
They truss you up like a ham roast, and just, if you're lucky, you'll be dead. You know, they eat you live. Some of them. I was warned about.
This is not on. I'm going to complain to my local MP. This is outrageous. This is completely
He
not
probably
on.
goes to one of those parties and has a slice of whatever.
Don't say we don't stretch the limits of conversation around here,
Yes,
everybody.
But,
Eric.
what about sharing it out? I mean, I was just thinking about that because, I mean, do they do it by what football clubs are interested in? Like, for example, there's one Toff that said he was from Liverpool. Sorry, he was from Hartlepool and supported Liverpool, so he'll have the liver and the heart. And the other one said, "Well, I'm from Cockfosters and support Arsenal, but I don't feel very hungry at the moment." Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know that English humour is at the correct level of consciousness.
Yeah,
It is. I think we might be able to bring them down with sarcastic English wit
They
and
don't
sarcasm.
like
yeah, and taking the piss.
They don't like that. That's I think why a lot
Yeah.
of it was invented in the first place. It's a way of communicating with so and so, not actually.
but
No, they
Miles,
don't like the humour. Eric, you mentioned this a lot, and it's true. They really do not
They don't like
it.
it up 'em.
They don't
Seriously,
like it.
they
They
really
don't
don't.
like us sitting around laughing at them saying, you arsehole, and stuff like that. So that's really what we've got to be doing loads of. And I think,
Yes.
I'm not just saying the English. The wit of the people in these islands is of a particularly distinct and supremely, excessively sarcastic nature. It's just an art form. I think it's just a delight.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant.
Well, we've always
normal
been the underdog,
workmen
haven't
can
we?
just make you fall about laughing all the time. It's just hilarious stuff.
Yeah, but you see, humour comes from adversity, and we've been the slaves to the aristocracy for years. It doesn't matter whether you're Irish, Scottish, Welsh, English. We've been
Yeah.
slaves to the aristocracy. So that's what's given us black humour, because that's the way we got through this slavery. 'Cause
Eric,
you
it's all
think
been
about
worth it if we get to listen to your gags. I think it's been a price worth.
Brilliant.
Thanks.
Oh, no, we don't
But,
mind 1,000 years of slavery as long as we can have a good laugh at the end of it. Is that all right?
Oh, yeah, bloody good laugh. But
Yeah, that's right.
actually, Miles, I mean, do you believe that there's a lot of demons involved in this?
The whole spectrum.
Because
By separating a lot of this off into this level and this little pigeonhole, that pigeonhole, a lot of people don't join the dots. Demons are just a form of life in complex number space.
Yes.
Because we still think we're living in 3D. We don't. We live in a multi-dimensional, highly complex, enriched universe.
Oh, we do. And have you heard of a chap called Jerry Marwinski? Because I often speak to him on my show. And he was in the American prison service, and he discovered that schizophrenics, the voices that they hear are real.
Yes.
They're not. He's YouTube liked him so much they booted him off. But no, he really knows his stuff, Jerry, and he's certainly seen
There was
thing or two.
a very good episode of Star Trek Next Generation where Captain Jean-Luc Picard acted as he had slightly become differentially disconnected with the others, and what he was seeing made him look like he was seeing in things that they couldn't see. So once you lose that connect, you're considered mad. But the problem is that a lot of the institutions are well aware of that, and they will take use of your talents. But you'll never leave, as they say in Hotel California.
Interesting.
But this is the whole point. If you're able to see the auric field around somebody, and then you notice that the auric field has got a different color, or it's got a big vacant hole in it, or there's something attached to you which is sucking off you. They're called. I had a wonderful interview with a woman talking about interdimensional insects, and they like barnacles, like every parasite. It just may not be in 3D, so you can have something leeching off your energy field, and that's the cause of all your ailments.
Someone come into my family whose father was a Freemason. And I believe that Freemasonry opens up portals, nasty portals, doesn't matter what level. And he brought in something that was demonic and smashed my family up, absolutely decimated it.
Yeah.
And it was, I've seen, it's like two personalities in one person.
Yes.
The demon, and this is where they got, I think, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Just two people, and 1 minute they're one person, next minute, and split second they're a second person. And when you see that, people just don't believe you. But I've actually witnessed it loads of times. And
that's crucial. That's crucial to MK Ultra Monarch mind control, where they fracture your mind into different personalities, and one personality won't know that the other personality exists.
That's it. That's it. That's exactly what it was. One moment my sister would be accusing you of something. The next moment she's saying, "Sorry, you're upsetting me." You said, "What?" "Well, you're saying that I accused you. You just said that." "No, I didn't." And meanwhile, my brother-in-law would be standing there grinning because he was like controlling her. It's quite disturbing once. But the trouble is, people that's never had experiences like that don't believe it. You've got to actually experience it to understand it. And it took about 3 days to get over when visiting them. You were physically and mentally exhausted after me, seeing my sister and brother-in-law. It was horrendous. It really was. I hate to add, I haven't seen them for 18 years, but no, I mean, my parents had felt the same. Whenever they visited them, it took them 5 days to get, or sort of 3 to 5 days to get over it. And the next day, he was just absolutely exhausted. Some people say that's emotional vampires, but you're quite right about interdimensional beings and things like that. But as for cannibalism, what do you think about throwing the entire House of Commons, feeding them to the elite?
Well, the thing is, why poison yourself? Yeah.
Yes, I can see that. Yes.
But
Do you
I mean,
think-
a very good film to sort of understand that is The Manchurian Candidate.
yes.
I think the 1950s one with
Frank Sinatra.
Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
That's a very good film. Maybe it's not 50s; it could be early 60s. But
It is
this
60s,
whole-
I think, Miles. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah, I think this is called trauma-induced mind control, and the first thing they do to the kids in these houses, these things, is they shatter their kundalini. They shatter the mind, so that puts them into a useful and malleable asset to be, for instance, a prime minister. So we have a prime minister who's has no care whatsoever about the people or anything at all, because he's protecting. Again, look at what's happening. There's a whole range of levels. I've got to be careful what I say. Levels of authority and people all connected who protect any pathways that could follow back to them, and that it affects the whole justice system. So they shall we say they take care of their own.
Oh yes, yes. But what gets me is that the delusional attitude is. I mean, Starmer believes did a fantastic job for this country. Lives in this complete cloud cuckoo land.
I don't know
That's
whether.
the
I mean, I
point.
don't know, Eric, whether he even has any beliefs. Do you remember that little analysis that we got a sheet on him from people that had worked with him, and they said he's literally got no convictions in anything. That was the gist of it. He's like,
Oh, I remember that. Yes.
he's like just
Yeah.
a sheet of paper. He's got no appreciation of any aspect of culture. He doesn't have a favourite anything. It's like he is. I mean, I think, Miles, you might have really hit it there. He's sort of traumatized in some way, and because there's something absolutely not right about him. He is like,
He is not stupid.
no.
These people are extremely smart, extremely clever. They will switch whatever way it takes to win. They will lie, deceive, and
Yes.
lie.
That's right. That's
and
right.
they will do so without the shallowest blink of an eye. They
And
are
look you straight
very
in the face.
dangerous. Yes,
Look at it
they
straight
are
in the face
extremely
whilst doing it, yeah.
dangerous. And the fact that they are running this country means our entire infrastructure to protect the people of this country is in full failure mode.
Yeah.
You're right. Spot on. Yeah, absolutely spot on. And now you worked at the BBC, Miles. Have you heard of a chap called Professor Simon?
Yes,
YouTube.
I've seen Professor Simon, and I saw him the other day. He's all crying into his beer because YouTube have decided to defund him a lot. He must have been getting onto something. He was
Yes.
talking about the bit I saw was the Discovery. He worked for Discovery, and how the space shuttle was designed for, well, it's SSP. You know, a secret space program, and they were launching the shuttle long before we saw the thing lift off from Cape Canaveral. One came in over Sussex and crashed. Bits of it crashed into the sea, and the nose cone of it was there at the Bentwaters base that had all that secret space program stuff flying around, disabling our nuclear weapons.
But
Sussex,
This
you
is the
say?
thing about-
My neck of the woods. I know it's not
Yeah,
a damn.
it's Rendlesham Forest area.
oh,
Oh,
Rendlesham
right,
Forest,
okay.
but
Is
yeah,
that
but
Sussex or not Sussex?
It's all right.
Suffolk. That's Suffolk.
Suffolk.
But do
Suffolk.
you believe? I mean, I believe that the crop circles are laser technology, and it's
No.
done from laser technology. That's
No.
my belief, but I could
No,
be totally
they're
wrong.
very cleverly laid down, and they're laid.
Mm-hmm.
But point is, it's the design. A lot of the designs came from U.S. Air Force intelligence, and they needed a team.
Well, how do they do
call
it?
they do it very cleverly, and they do it. And Matthew was explaining that on this brilliant show I did with him, which is a disaster. Has to do a take two, but it's the way it's done is. I mean, the guys who did it before, you'd find it immaculately done. It's not done by lasers or anything like that. It's done by people who know what they're doing, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a very serious other intelligence involved. And for instance, the East Field. And there's a lot of very dodgy stuff on the East Field. And we did a little alien base exploration tour, driving on public roads, not knocking on anybody's door, but...
where was that, Miles? Whereabouts was that?
Well, the whole area there is bases everywhere.
Right.
I mean, it's the scale of this is. We now know the manor houses are one of the key infrastructures for connecting and operating this whole system, and there are other. They use the standing stones, megaliths, all that sort of stuff. They're operating in multiple dimensions. They can, and again, that's within the physics. You can change all that if you know the correct use of the physics. You can create all sorts of things like that without going into too much detail. But they are done by people. When they are doing it, they can have extra time given to them so that there was a professor, a doctor, Simeon Hind. They wanted to make a crop circle so they could analyze what was happening when the people watched it and saw it. But that's what they wanted to look at. They said, like, if we make a crop circle and we have got a scientific psycho blah 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 people involved, psychologists and all that sort of stuff. We want to examine what happens when people look at this when we know we made it. But the point is, when they were making it, they weren't going to finish it in time. So what happened? They were given the time to finish it. But the lookout said you were only in there for 3 hours. Because remember, it's done at the least amount of daylight time or the least amount of night time possible. It's the middle of the summer. So you've only got 2 or 3 hours, maybe 4 hours of when there's absolutely enough darkness. Again, it depends on the cloud cover. And that's when they were given an extra hour to finish the formation. But their lookout said you were only in there for 3 hours. So therefore, somebody arranged a time to store event, and a lot of the circle makers have said, oh, well, we made this in perfectly dry conditions, but to everybody else, but it was pouring with rain that night, but not where they're making the crop circle. Somebody is giving them the opportunity to do something. And then there's all these black shadow people. And remember, if you were slightly within a micron's whisker of a gnat's eye lash, different. Photonic light is a defined packet of energy which your eyes allows you to see light. Okay? But if you're not quite of the same frequency or there's a slight difference, you won't see anything. It'll just be jet black. And that's what, when they're making the crop circle, who are the other guys? And they're jet black. Observers. And remember, there's a huge facility underneath there where they hold, and again, there's all sorts of things coming and flying in and out of that place. And some people have filmed them. They've seen them. A guy got an idea, let's go up to the Knaphill car park, set the cameras up just over the East Field, and he didn't see anything, got very disappointed why on earth was I here, So when he goes back to the edit and he's slowing the pictures down, he sees a cloaked triangular craft fly out of the bottom of the field, do a big sweep and fly off into the distance. There's been several crop circles being made, and then it's another brilliant guy, if you get him on, is Win Keach. he and Duncan Davis, when they project, it's always the boundary layer between when they knit the projected reality in with the actual reality. And if you can see that layer, you'll see that there's something else completely different there.
Interesting.
But they're using this all the time.
Do you think that the First World War was like a kind of a sacrifice? It was done deliberately. A kind of
That's all
cannibalism?
the wars are designed for eating us. They want loads of humans, one way or another. I mean, this is another lady called Penny Bradley. She was flying one of the Draco cargo ships, and that was full of humans.
How many do they need to eat? Are these so? These are these.
Well, they ship them everywhere. I mean, this is the point. Humans are warded up like supermarkets from other dimensions in other realms and other universes.
We can't be that tasty, Miles. It just doesn't make
Well,
sense.
we're just like a supermarket shelf. You know, what type do you want? You know, like Madeline McCann. That was all ordered up. You know, they just you saw the mark on the eye. That was a clone. Ordered that up and away you go.
The cloning thing, you know, I mean, we're really out there in this conversation, which I'm enjoying. It's such a change of pace, really, from round here. Certainly quite a bit of counterpoint from the first hour. But I was thinking, you know, the cloning thing, I've heard Guy Anderson, whose show's on before mine. It's always fun. He's got a compatriot of yours, another fella from Northern Ireland. I've forgotten his name now. He's great, actually. And Guy writes a lot, talks a lot about Tartaria. That's his particular bailiwick. And a lot about the cloning in the 1800s. And I know I've seen all these things recently about all the baby sort of booths at these so-called world's fairs and all this kind of stuff. Is that just when you think you kind of got a handle on things, a new block of strangeness walks into the
It
into
only
the internet.
takes one generation of 25 years to break the cycle. And that's what they managed to do in the 1800s.
And that's what they're trying to do now, right?
That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, it
now.
feels
They
like
want to
that.
break and they're getting on with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it is up to us to stop it. Put a little stick in their wheel. And that's going to be a rough time because they're not going to sort of go away peaceably into the night.
You don't think? No, they're probably feeling cock-a-hoop. But I suppose it's maybe if they are viewing us the way that we tend to view cows, which we tend to be able to manhandle quite a bit, then it's quite a problem. Do you think we've got enough intelligence to do it? I'm going to have to say yes, we do. It's just whether it's marshaled correctly.
We are very important because we are manifestors. And that is one of our key things. Literally, they want us to get us to manifest literally by digging our own graves. We have the power to demanifest these things, to dissolve them into literally no thing. That's what we can do. And that's what happens when you laugh at them. They can't stand it when you laugh at them.
They're probably not tuning into this show, are they, Eric?
No, that's it. And you notice I've gone the evening and I haven't come out with a lavatorial joke yet.
I know, it's a world record. It really is. At least
Bloody,
it's a show
bloody
record.
disgrace.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not
Who's that
keeping
other
your
Northern
end up,
Ireland man?
Eric.
Sorry?
We need probably a lavatorial humour break, actually. We probably do. Question
We
for
do,
you,
don't
Miles,
we?
that's
Yes.
come in from the chat from Warren. He says, how the hell, I don't know if he speaks like that, but I'm speaking like that. How the hell can a man travel from this Earth to another universe?
Very easily. It happens all the time. You see, you are restricting your viewpoint of 3D.
In terms of our understanding of matter and things like that,
But
substance.
matter is an energy, and again, we think matter is
Stuff.
all matter is a set of wavefronts which happen to happen. We're just a bunch of wavefront energies.
Yeah, like that thing about tables, right? You know, the thing about atoms and stuff. So if you go into a thing that we think is solid, like a wooden table, I've got one here right in front of me. I understand from what I'm told, and it makes sense, that there's more gaps in it than there is stuff.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
it's just think of musical instruments and think of when you those wonderful pictures of if you put certain tones on a level surface with a loudspeaker on it, and you play certain musical tones, you'll see how the sound stabilizes into different shapes. That's all matter is. And if you change the harmonics or the frequency of the matter, you will jump to a different domain.
Yes.
It's music. You've got different octaves, different harmonics, and if you get the song right, you go to a different place.
Makes sense. I mean, Tesla said everything's about vibration and frequency, isn't it? And these energy waves.
And John Urban will say the same thing. It's all about frequencies. If you change, I mean, this idea, for instance, of like dinosaurs, right? Yeah. Dinosaurs. If you brought dinosaurs, and this is one of the things I was talking with Laura Eisenhower and the Hadron Collider stuff. Saturn's rings were created by the ring makers of Saturn, but by gating an energy source around one of the planets, you can change the harmonic song of the solar system. So if you change the song or add a different frequency or harmonic to that, the whole solar system can change. And that is why if you decide if you wanted to bring back dinosaurs, if an elephant is too dense, it's just lumbering around. You're going to bring back a dinosaur twice the size. It won't work. That's why there were bigger people, the giants. But if you change the harmonics of the space-time density, to use a phrase, again, it's wrong because the term space-time restricts you to only 3D. Then it changes. It's like the music changes, like going from long wave radio. God bless Radio 4. I miss that.
We all miss our reassuring sounds, don't we? We do.
Of the foreign of the overseas or whatever. I missed that.
This is the voice of the Broken Biscuit Corporation. The news.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what we need.
And the way they tone it.
Oh, yeah.
The way they use their vocal tones.
That's the thing. Yeah, it's magic.
It's 100%. The way they use their hands, NLP, and all the rest of it.
Yep.
It's 100% mind control of BBC.
Oh, yeah.
Which is why Starmer wants us to go back to the BBC.
Well, Miles, it's been fantastic having you on for a mind-bending hour. I've loved it, actually. You've reminded me a lot. I've got a lot of books behind me that I've not touched in about 10 years that tickle into these sorts of areas. I've been so focused on smashing the bank I've become a one-trick pony, really. But it's really great stuff.
Well, you got a great station and brilliant, and I'm very honoured to be part of it.
Well, we're honoured to have you here because I just think it's fantastic. It's growing all the time. We've got new shows coming on this week, and we're just grinding away. And I've got a little sort of technical progression plan to keep improving things with better studio systems for everybody down the line. That's probably about 6 months away. We have a lot of problem with people calling in on mobile phones. I think we've got a lightweight studio technology lined up, shouldn't cost us too much, where people coming in by phones will be a lot easier and the sound's going to be fab. It's all about, because we want to be like the BBC, don't we, Miles? I mean, you work there, so we want to be like that.
Television is television, broadcasting is broadcasting. Just get it right, Miles. So when somebody's microphone slips underneath their T-shirt, fix it at the time and don't complain later. Right. I'm really annoyed about that.
Anyway, you were talking...
yes.
Yeah, go on. Well, I was just going to say, we've probably got... Yeah. We've got another guest coming. We're at the end of the hour, and you're from Northern Ireland, right? And we were talking about that a little bit earlier. The Undertones, they're from Northern Ireland, aren't they?
They're from the Black North, they're from Derry, So that's the Black North up there, but those Protestants and those Black Masons, they're from Derry, That's okay.
Well, I really like the Undertones. I didn't like much punk bands at all, but I like the Undertones. I couldn't believe they were all 16.
You're dating yourself.
Yeah, I am. Yeah,
You need to get a guy called Terry Hooley on. He did Terry Hooley was God's gift. He's brilliant.
Fantastic.
BBC made a whole show, a documentary about it.
Can we have you back in a few weeks, Miles? About a month or something? I'll pester you a bit.
I'll have to see if I'm busy. Yes, probably. Yes,
no, this is good. We've got to carry on with this. Anyway, you can catch Miles' show every week Got to say, before we just say goodbye to Miles, I'll say goodbye to WBN 324. We've been here for the last 2 hours. We'll be here again next Thursday at 3 p.m. US Eastern, 8 p.m. in the UK. So thanks, everybody, on WBN 324. We're carrying on anyway. You want to keep listening, go to paulenglishlive.com and you'll find all the listening links there to Rumble, YouTube, FFT Radio, blah, 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 blah. We're going to play you out with the Undertones. In fact, I'm going to play a couple of songs. The first one is the Undertones. The second one is all about New Orleans, which is an intro for our next guest, Eli James, who should be rocking up in a few minutes' time, what with him being an American type and all that kind of stuff. Miles, see you in a little while. Fantastic. Thanks very much for tonight.
Perfect cousin.
I'm doing Jimmy, actually. I'm doing Jimmy. Yeah, it's only two. It's
and
2
good
minutes.
Night.
2 minutes and 10 seconds. See you later, mate. Fantastic. Miles Johnson, everybody. Here's the Undertones.
Little mommy's boy, he wasn't very old, though he was very small. He did what he was told. Jimmy, 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 oh, Jimmy, Jimmy. Poor little Jimmy wouldn't let go. He'd stay awake at night, lying in his bed. No one ever listened to a single word he said. Jimmy, 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 oh, Jimmy, Jimmy. Poor little Jimmy wouldn't let go. Jimmy, 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 oh, Jimmy, Jimmy. Poor little Jimmy wouldn't let go. Now little Jimmy's gone. He disappeared one day, but no one saw the ambulance that took little Jim away. Jimmy, 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 oh, Jimmy, Jimmy. Poor little Jimmy wouldn't let go. Jimmy, Jimmy.
I went down to New Orleans. I'd never been there before. They fed my horse in a poplar trough, and I'll go there tomorrow. Walk that little in the middle of the day, walk that little tomorrow. Walk that little in the middle of the day, walk that little tomorrow. I went down to the creek and it was so wide and deep. I hopped astride an old gray goose and bobbed across the creek. Walk that little in the middle of the day and walk that little tomorrow. Walk that little in the middle of the day and walk that little tomorrow. Just before I got to the bank, the news popped in my mind. 7 little turkeys crossing the field with foremost one behind. Walk that little in the middle of the day and walk that little tomorrow. Walk that little in the middle of the day and walk that little tomorrow. Well, a coon and the possum begin for the fight, and you ought to hear the chaffing. Well, the old turkey hen, she runs so fast, the gobbler died of laughing. Walk that little in the middle of the day and walk that little tomorrow. Walk that little in the middle of the day and walk that little tomorrow. Well, it rained all day the day I left, and then began to snowing. Well, a rooster jumped up on the fence and bent his neck a crowing. Walk that little in the middle of the day and walk that little tomorrow. Walk that little in the middle of the day and walk that little tomorrow.
I was taken. Friday was my hanging day, and Saturday I hung like bacon. What that'll do in the middle of the day, and what that'll do tomorrow. What that'll do in the middle of the day, and fare thee well, my darling.
Oh, that was fun, wasn't it? That was the first song was the Undertones, not the Underpants, the Undertones, Jimmy, Jimmy. And that was the New Mules. I went down to New Orleans. I didn't, of course, but I loved both of those. Very different, eh? Anyway, welcome back to the final hour. We're here from 10 till 11. And although he's in America, he's probably a million miles from New Orleans. Eli, hello, good evening, and welcome to the show.
Good day.
Good day.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Glad
sound
to be
good
here.
as well. Good audio. This is great. This I didn't even have to check.
Good day. Let me speak Australian. Good day.
Good day. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how far are you from New Orleans? We might as well start off with something completely obscure.
Oh, not that far anymore. I'm in Harrison, Arkansas, which is maybe 400 to 500 miles
Wow.
from.
That's not
Chicago
far, is it,
is-
Eric?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's not very far.
It's
No,
not very
and
far.
also, you know that Jimmy, didn't he know the Riddler in Batman? Just wondering.
he
yeah,
did.
Jimmy, sorry.
He did. Yeah. Jimmy
Yeah.
Jimmy knew the Riddler. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Well, I was listening to that punk song. Have you guys ever heard of Iggy Pop and the Stooges?
Yes. Yes, we have.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think they're the ones who started punk in America anyway.
Yeah, they did.
Maybe some
Early
of
70s, 73, 74, something
Yes.
like that, wasn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is some concert footage of him singing completely naked, which is really.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's quite appalling, really. The whole thing is just like, what are you doing? You know, I can't look at that. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know, get some clothes
Oh,
on,
yes.
man. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
nonsense.
He made a right cock up of it, though.
He
didn't
did.
You
He
know,
did it right.
think of
Right
yes.
balls up of it. It was terrible,
Yes.
really. Yeah, absolutely.
But I think it was CIA. Seriously,
Could
I really
be.
do believe it.
Yeah, Eli,
Well,
Eli, are you CIA?
yeah.
We
Yeah.
like to get CIA people on.
Yeah. Yeah. A Christian identity. Amen.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Oh, I like that.
But-
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know that
CIA.
second song as well. I meant to mention to you that second song was by a band called the New Mules. As far as I'm aware, they only ever did one album. I love that kind of stuff when it's done. They've got some other songs with female vocalists as well, which are just great. There's one called Shoe Cobbler, which I love. I never thought I'd end up loving songs called Shoe Cobbler, but it's great. It's just real different on the ear, isn't it? It's really different on the ear from all the modern stuff. I just love it. And that came to me courtesy of a mutual colleague of yours and mine, which is Coleman.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah, he sent me
Very
that a few
good. Yeah,
years
yeah.
ago. Have you heard from him recently?
Not for a couple of months. So I guess there was a falling out between him and his brother.
Oh,
And I should give him a call, find out what's going on.
yeah.
Okay.
I've mentioned here before on previous shows that Coleman was the one who actually invited me to a country dance here in
Oh,
England
right.
about 7
Yeah,
years
yeah.
ago. When he came over, he was, because he's a pretty
Yeah.
bright lad, he was working at a big museum here in London. And he also plays what does he play now? Is it the flute? I can't remember. what he played.
Flute. Yeah. Flute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's fantastic. He's really good. Anyway, lovely bloke, fab. Yeah, and he said, do you want to come up to London on New Year's Eve? I went, I don't think I ever want to go to London, and certainly not on New Year's Eve. So I ended up meeting him, I think it was Blackheath, somewhere like that. And that was a memorable evening. Yeah, dancing with 60 people to stuff I didn't know a bloody word of or anything. That was good.
Right.
good
Well, there's
guy.
a real underground movement all over America, really, of folk music that
Yep.
never gets played on the radio. And so in Missouri, I forget the name of the place, but not too far from here, where dozens of folk bands
Yeah.
of all levels of performance value get together and just perform, and everybody has a great time. Just
Eli,
like this.
Yeah. Do you think you could be our A&R man then in America? Because I'll tell you
Oh,
what,
sure.
if you dig stuff up that's as good as that or even comparable, I'll play it.
Right.
This station
Yeah.
will play it.
Right. Okay.
Seriously, yeah. As long as they say, sure, you can play it. We're unsigned bands or whatever. That's what we're kind of interested
Oh,
in.
yeah.
So maybe
Okay.
the Undertones were signed. I can't remember. It doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah,
Every now and again, I just get a bit naughty and have to play something. But the second one, the New Mules are definitely a free agent, as it were. They did their own music publishing and stuff. But I bet there's just tons of talent out there. We just, again, it's just a matter of actually finding it, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. Well, the mainstream music industry has always suppressed, folk music of the really raw kind, right?
Mhm.
Like in the Appalachian Mountains. Well, what do they call it? Bluegrass. Okay, you don't hear any bluegrass on radio ever. Okay,
Don't you?
and then yeah, no,
Really?
almost.
Gosh,
almost
I
none.
mean, I really love bluegrass. It's great.
Oh
Isn't
yeah,
it a
it's
bit-
great music.
It's fabulous. It's really good. It's just genuinely, distinctively and uniquely. You can hear the sort of English folk
Yeah.
in it, and then it's been given all this. Well, your people have done their thing with it
Yeah.
and just moved it on into a different way. The harmonies and stuff on the vocals, it's great. It's really
yeah,
good. Yeah. I'd love to go to a
Yeah.
bluegrass festival actually and start
Yeah.
chewing some hay and things. You know, I could do that.
It's just not played. Just not played on mainstream radio.
Right.
You know, you have to go to internet to yeah. Well, I sent you a song by a bunch of guys who had a bluegrass band. What song did they do? Oh yeah, Let's Get Together,
Right.
which was a big hit in the 1960s.
Yeah.
They do a bang up version of that in bluegrass style. It's fantastic. Okay.
I'm gonna have to go on a bluegrass hunt, aren't I?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think the song ever written is Waltzing Matilda.
Yeah. Well, the song that all the Australians sing, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost the Australian national anthem.
I
But
think
not
it is
quite.
really. Yeah, it is.
Right.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about a guy who tried to steal a sheep and cooked it on the
Is it
on
really?
on the seashore, and I guess he must have broken some. I guess he didn't have a hunter's license or something, right? So the first verse goes, "Once a jolly swagman camped by a billabong." What's a swagman and a billabong?
Well, a swag man would be like a highway robber, isn't that right, Eric? Do you
Oh,
think?
okay.
Yeah. What do you
a
think?
Billabong is like an oasis, isn't it? Where you can.
Is it?
Okay.
Get some water.
Camped
Is
by.
it, am I
yeah.
right?
It's been
Yeah,
worth
something
coming on the
like that.
show, Eli, just for that, hasn't it? See, you've learned.
Yeah. So I learned a few things, right? So he's out in the woods somewhere, and he hasn't got a hunter's license, and he catches a billabong or by a billabong under the shade of a coolabah tree,
Yeah.
and he sang as he watched and waited till his billy boiled.
Billy. Oh, yeah. That's his Billy would be the kettle, wouldn't it?
Okay, or a goat. I would think he caught a goat.
No, I think it's a if it boiled,
Billy is a
it's like a billy can or something, and it's sort of like a universal cooking thing. That's what it is.
Okay. So it's
Yep.
a pot.
Yep.
It's a pot. Okay. And then who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me?
Where's
So
that come from?
it's-
Where's Matilda come from? Was she with him?
Yeah,
Is it
who
strange?
knows? Maybe she just wandered on by. Right? Maybe she was the agent for the forestry management. Right? What are you doing here, Matilda? Let's waltz. Don't look at my boiling pot.
Billy in
nothing
chat, Eli says, I've been to some Louisianan backwaters,
Yeah.
folk
Yeah,
and
oh, yeah.
bluegrass. Love it. Even the oldies play like teenagers. Yeah, it's an invigorating, sort of uplifting,
Yeah.
joyful, melodic thing. I think so.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Cajun music is really something else. It's kind of a version of bluegrass, but
Billy's
the hot
corrected me
peppers.
as well. Look, thanks you're here, Billy. So shame me. Swagman's complete crap, it turns out. He says Swagman is his sleeping mat that he travels with. Okay.
Oh really?
Yeah, you're
Oh.
Swagman.
Yeah.
Those Australians, they come up with different words for everything. What are they like?
Yeah.
outrageous.
Yeah. So it was. I never realized it was actually a rebellious tune, and having no respect for authority.
Yeah. And
That's
obviously,
what the song's really about.
yeah,
Yeah.
Billy's an expert on this. Eric, you
okay.
were a million miles off when you said oasis or whatever. He says Billabong is a pond. How about
Okay.
that? A pond. It's a very interesting song. We'll have to start singing it, not in this show. Need a bit of
right.
practice first.
Right. So then he says, along came a jumbuck to drink at the billabong.
Hmm?
Jumbuck.
To drink
a
at the
jumbuck?
I don't know. A jumbuck.
Yeah.
How's that spelled? Jumbuck.
Right. Jumbuck.
Come on, Billy. What's a jumbuck? Somebody look it up.
Maybe it's prey that came and then the guy jumped the jumbuck and up jumped the swag man and grabbed him with glee, and he sang as he stowed that jumbuck in his tucker bag.
Ah, tucker. That's food, right?
Okay. Yeah. So I guess he boiled it already. Right.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to get away with the food, but they caught him.
Yeah.
Okay.
What a rat. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
So it's basically a mumbo jumbo song.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of these songs that seems to make sense, and but you have to understand Australian swag or slag. To
Swag.
slang.
Slang. Yeah.
Yeah, there you
Ooh,
go.
you can't say slag. We don't.
No.
Well,
Did I
that,
say
it's
something
got two
bad?
meanings here at least. One is a big pile of coal, and the other one is a rather
yeah, a big pile of
dubious
stuff. Oh.
reference to a loose woman. Really,
Oh,
yes, and we don't want to be
really?
talking about that. We're British after all. Actually, we're not
No,
British, as the first hour said. In fact, we're
A
not
woman
British.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
But a woman whose arm has fallen off or something, or leg has fallen off, she's a loose woman, you know. That was in the Goons, wasn't it? Oh, means leg's falling off. Oh, she's a loose woman. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That happens a lot in Louisiana. The alligators will get you. And tear your
Well,
not
arms
going
off.
there. Good job you came back,
you
Billy, with
know,
both your legs. Then, if you went down there to
Yes,
Louisiana,
that's right.
Well done on that. I'm assuming you've got two legs.
That's right.
Eli, it's
Did you
been
know,
quite a
though,
while
that-
since
yes.
you were on. I
Yeah.
don't know how long, but it has. Have you had any adventures recently? What's been going on in your neck of the woods and in your world?
Oh yeah. Well, I went to Florida.
Right.
And I was planning on attending a rally for Dan Bilzerian.
Oh
Have
yeah,
you
yeah.
heard of him
The
over
rather accurate communicator about
The-
the
the-
unmentionables. Yes.
Yeah, the dirty anti-Semite from Florida.
Yeah.
Who's running against Danny? Oh no, a Jewish candidate,
No, really.
and I think Dan might win. He might actually win. And but while I drove down there, I had a accident in Memphis. I
Right.
should have known better than to go through Memphis. But anyway, I got sideswiped and smashed the side of my car in. And I said, "Uh-oh, I'm not going to make it to Florida."
Right.
But then the car, the left front was demolished, absolutely demolished. And so I was amazed how I could actually get in my car and drive away after the police said I could go.
They said
Right.
you could, oh, they're nice, aren't they? Yeah,
Yeah.
You're not safe to be on the road, but we'll let you go anyway. Thank you.
Yeah,
officer.
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I drove to the nearest town and got a motel room and just went swimming in the pool and relaxed for the rest of the evening. So I couldn't make it to Dan Bilzerian's because I still would have almost 1,000 miles from Memphis to go there.
Right.
So and I was already tired of driving, had too much excitement already.
Yeah.
So I just stayed with Brother Dave Harry in his town, and a bunch of us veterans, military veterans, got together for the next couple of days and just party. Okay.
Wow.
So instead of, but it's all good
yeah.
because Dan Bilzerian canceled the event that I was going to go to.
Right. He's
Yeah.
he's the guy he was a world-class poker player, wasn't he?
He was? I don't know. I
Oh
never
yeah,
asked
yeah.
him
He made
about
an
that.
absolute fortune playing poker. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand he's a millionaire.
Yeah, multi
So-
or whatever. So he's lived the absolute playboy life, and now he's thrown it all in. He said, he's had all the toys and all the physical adventures that a man in his
Yeah.
position could have had. But he comes across great, and he just says things straight, doesn't he, and
Yeah.
everything. So someone right,
Yeah,
it's Dan
yeah.
Bilzerian against Randy Fine. So just to redress all
Randy
that.
Fine, yeah, that's
Yeah. And also, just going back to the CIA thing, John writes, CIA stands for Catholic, Irish, and Alcoholic, which I think is a bit severe, John. I'd never heard that one before. I'm sure we can make some. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, if it weren't for whiskey, Ireland would have ruled the world a long time ago.
You know what? You might not be far off there. Did you? I mean, you heard, we've mentioned it before, but the Scots were over in Boston. You heard about them drinking Boston Dry.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Impressive, eh?
Yeah.
Boy,
really.
can those lads drink. The English are not far behind. They're probably the same, but the Scots, they wear kilts and play bagpipes, so they're more interesting. The English are a bit more polite as they drink themselves into oblivion, I think. Not that the Scots are impolite. It just sounds fun. That's been the most interesting thing about all of this, that thing going on there. But, yeah.
Well, this Waltzing Matilda and all the punk rock and everything else, it's all about disrespect for authority, which is a good thing.
Yes.
which is because most authority is fake. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Even that scientific authority. You guys, what were you guys talking about? You were talking about quantum mechanics in the previous hour. I listened to the last few.
Yeah, no,
minutes of
Miles
it.
was talking about it was an out there conversation. It really was. We were talking
Yeah,
about
it sounded like it.
Yeah. No, it was really it's good counterpoint to some of the more sort of grounded things, if you want to call it, that we talk about. So I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a bit of a complete change of pace. He has a show here on Food for Thought Radio. He goes out every Tuesday night from 9 to 11, and his guest this week was Laura Eisenhower of the Eisenhower family. That one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's quite interesting, actually, and he was a bit late for the show, so his first word was the F-bomb as he came in, right? So I edited that out of the podcast because he knows, I can't, and everything like that. He's at times a fiery man from Northern Ireland, and he's great. I really like him. He's good, and he's definitely, highly curious guy about all sorts of stuff. So it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's certainly mine, and I enjoyed having him on. It was lovely. So it was really good stuff,
Yeah.
Did you know the famous tune "There'll Be Bluebirds Over the White Cliffs of Dover" was written by an American who'd never been to the White Cliffs of Dover in his life? Yeah.
Okay.
And there isn't bluebirds over the White Cliffs of Dover because they haven't really got any bluebirds there. But yeah,
This is true, Eric. This is true. In fact, we don't have any bluebirds in England at all, do we?
Yeah.
that's
Do
why
we?
he wrote it.
How about
I don't
cardinals?
think you've been to England.
You got
Cornwall.
cardinals? You have
What?
cardinals in England? Cardinals.
No, we don't. They're rather
No.
magnificent things. Hence the St.
Oh,
Louis
yeah.
Cardinals or the St. Louis
There you go.
Cardinals. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
no,
They're bright red. They're beautiful birds. So are bluebirds.
Yeah.
But they don't like each other.
Do they? So they have a go.
No.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's
We've
just
got
like...
tits. Did you have tits? We got blue tits
Well done, Eric.
in the winter. In Britain,
willow.
tits are a titwillow. Yes.
Yeah.
You see, people think I'm being rude, but no. I've got great tits in my garden.
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Birds, yes.
Yeah, of
We
course.
won't go into that. And my case comes up next week.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hear there's a sale going on for those curved knives Muslims use to stab people with.
What, you mean a discount? Everybody can have one now. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, everybody can, not just Muslims?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, not that we would want such a bit of
Oh, okay.
stuff. We
Yeah.
want different things. We want Berettas
Because,
and things like
yeah,
that.
I know you want Berettas,
Yeah.
but you can't have any.
Oh, well, actually, if we keep it's interesting you mentioned that because it turns out that we actually can. It's still, under the Magna Carta, an Englishman can carry arms to defend himself. And, of course, it's not bigged up. They've done a lot of things. In fact, I heard Rupert Lowe, who's the guy who's the least worst option. I am going to come across as a fan, but I do think he's saying some pretty good stuff. We were talking about it in hour one, actually, with Graham Moore about who are the British and stuff like that. But in an interview recently, he was talking about guns because over here, Dunblane, which you probably heard about, which was this, maybe you didn't, it's a school up in Scotland where this guy supposedly went barking mad and shot loads of kids dead, which is just horrific.
Recently?
In the 90s, that was, in the 1990s.
Okay.
And
All right.
from that, they passed lots of laws saying you can't have pistols and guns. And Lowe was saying that his father, I think it was his dad, was an actual target shooter as a sportsman. He had pistols and everything, and they took the lot, And
Right.
it's all a part of the, this is nothing new. You know what's happened in previous iterations of this
Sure.
kind of situation throughout Europe in the 20th century. So they take the guns off people. Not that I'm suggesting we all get armed to the teeth, but if they're armed to the teeth, what's the harm in it? What's good for the goose is good for the gander, really.
Why can't we?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why can't Brits? Okay.
Yeah. Although we're not,
Yeah.
it turns out we're not Brits, actually, Eli.
We're English.
No,
We're
no.
English.
No, we were talking about that in hour one. The title of the show with Graham for hour one is "Who Are the British?" And me and Eric are not British. How
No,
about
we're
that?
not, no.
We're not.
Well,
It's very
What
awkward.
art thou?
You know how the unmentionables twist words. You know how cultural Marxism pushes words out of the lexicon and introduces other ones, which are kind of a fudge, and then people can't think clearly about what they're talking about. Well, I think it's a tremendous example of that. So this whole thing about I mean, it's complicated, just like your law is in a way. But going back, it turns out, you see, that we actually do have a constitution in this country. We've got the Magna Carta, we've got the Constitution, we've got a Bill of Rights, we've got the Act of something or other, settlement, and Graham, who was on in the first hour, knows this stuff in high detail. And you'd say, well, that sounds a bit academic, but that's the whole point. It's not. It's actually still there because it's in perpetuity. And as you know, that much of the U.S. Constitution is based on what really was the English Constitution. It's people of England that did most of this stuff.
Right.
And of course, we're never told about this over here because we are, a bunch of Herberts that need to be filched from and robbed all the time. So it's part of the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got socialism all over Europe. It's trying to take over America. Hasn't quite succeeded yet.
No.
But Donald Trump is doing his best to have a globalist Zionist empire ruling over America. He's doing his absolute best. And the war is just a distraction to cover all that up, right?
Yeah.
But it's not going too well because the global economy is failing.
Mm-hmm.
Gas prices are going up. Americans are really unhappy because he promised he would not start another war. And he started about five more wars once he was reelected, just like every other American president has done, thanks to the Zionists, okay?
Yeah.
So your country has been doing this, since 1694?
Well, a long time, yeah, but particularly since 1815, since the Battle of Waterloo, since Waterloo, when much of the economic control fell into the hands of the unmentionables. And I think... Yeah, of course. They, we mentioned this before, haven't we? We were used as the bully boy and sent around all over the place and died. And then Then after World War One, they decided they were going to switch it to you. World War Two finished us off completely. Put us massively in debt to you lot to about 2005. I think we paid it off. It might even be more recent than that. Yeah, it's nuts. It's to who though? There's a middleman, you see, and then you come in touch with the unmentionables, and it all goes that way again and again and again. Nothing new under the sun. That kind of stuff.
But Eli, the United States. You notice it's got USA and we've got the UK.
Okay.
I think they've got the spelling wrong, and it should be usury states of America.
Yeah, there you go.
And usury kingdom.
Yeah.
I think that was what the word really means. So you say, I'm in the UK, you're in the usury kingdom.
That's right.
So I think that's what it means. So the USA isn't the United States; it's the usury states of America.
Now, if the United Kingdom, the usury kingdom, had Sharia law, all those usurers would get their hands chopped off.
Yeah. I suspect, Eli, they're quite happy to practice usury on us, but not internally. And in a way, I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, you've got to say that the Islamic laws on banking, if they're carried out, are actually way sounder than ours.
For sure.
And I don't mind about that. I just mind the fact that they're not in the right location. They need to be in their homes, and then they can do whatever they please. But
okay, well,
hey-ho.
why is it that the Byzantine Empire never collapsed from internal usury? Why? Because the Western Empire, namely the Catholic part of the Christian Empire, did. Why? But we have the same Bible, which forbids usury.
Mm-hmm.
How did the Catholics somehow succumb to usury?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good question, right? I think the Catholic Church winked at it.
Well, they've got a bank now, don't they? They've got the Vatican Bank. I mean, so it's a bit more than a wink. But and the Church of England's the same. They're all the same. They're all running banks and stuff and saying we've got all these assets. You go, I'm sorry, doesn't this sort of contradict what's in your operating manual?
Right.
Oh well, we just don't bother about that.
Yeah,
it's a joke. Yeah,
and
it
even
is.
worse than that is the president of the Vatican Bank in the 60s, 70s, maybe even today, was a mobster from Chicago by the name of Marcinkus. He was in charge of... Now, why is a mobster from Chicago in charge of the Vatican Bank?
Well, he had skills, Eli. He had management skills. He knew how to get things
there
done.
You go. That's right. Just like Donald Trump. He knows how to get things done, how to prolong wars in perpetuity.
Well, it's obviously not Donald that's doing it, right? I mean, he's just signed up into a club, and as long as he gets to say a few things that lets everybody think he's the prez and in charge, and he's no doubt in charge of some things, because it can't be. But when it comes to the key stuff, forget it. And it's the same over here, and it has been for a long time, you know.
Yeah, that's why the Bible says, "Who can make war against the beast?" The beast is totally corrupt. And oh, by the way, well, the Epstein class,
Yeah.
they use bribery, murder, blackmail, extortion, threats to keep themselves in power.
Yeah.
And all of the politicians in America are suffering from that. And they'll not, except for Thomas Massey
Yes.
and maybe Dan Bilzerian if he does get elected. So I was going to go down there and support him, but then he canceled the event. How are people going to support you if you cancel these events, right?
Yeah,
you know
'cause,
where
I
he
mean,
was?
Yeah, it's quite a thing, is that? I mean, traveling around in the States is a big deal. You got to plan it out, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
got, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, see, if you want to travel, how did one guy put it? Oh, yeah. If you travel from France, you can be in Russia driving 4 or 5 hours. But if you go in Texas, you can drive 10 hours from one end of Texas and still be in Texas after 10 hours, right?
Yeah.
The Europeans have no comprehension of how big this
I
country
know.
is.
I know. It's
Yeah.
vast. It's silly.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever seen
Yeah.
those sites where you can move the size of a nation or even a state's real estate?
Oh,
There's one.
yeah, I've seen
You can
some
take
of them. Yeah,
Texas. You can overlay it over the whole of Western Europe practically. It's
That's
mad.
right. Yeah.
I had a friend years ago who was down in Florida, wanted to go see a friend up in Seattle or somewhere like that, I think it was, and no, Vancouver. And he should have flown, but he loved trains. So he took the train, and he knew it was going to take a week or whatever it took. I mean, I don't know how many days, but it's more than a couple of days at least, you know. And he told me, he said, anyway, one late one morning, the guard shouts out, "Texas!" They're going into Texas, right? And he goes, great. So he goes to bed, gets up in the morning, all day later, said, "Where are we now?" "Oh, Texas." They've been traveling all night. So what? We're still in Texas. "Oh yeah, it's quite big." I just thought, he said it's really, really big. I think my brain had probably melt. Actually, my son's out there right now.
Really?
Not in Texas.
Okay.
He's in and around
Arizona?
Los Angeles. Yeah, he's doing.
Oh, okay.
They're with it. There's about 5 or 6 of them, maybe a few more. They're there for 10 or 11 days on an extended stag do. It's going to get messy.
Stag do?
Yeah. One of them's getting married, right, in about a month's time.
Oh.
So, 2 months' time.
okay.
So they're giving it plenty of time for him to recover. But they were up in Yosemite, I think it was today, or some. I can't remember where they were. And
Yeah. That's a bachelor party.
is that what you call them? We call them a stag party over here. It's a stag do. It's not supposed to be that
Stag
long.
do.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's where a bikini-clad women pop out of a cake.
Well, I maybe my son's hoping for something like that. Although he's
Right.
I don't know. Maybe some others of his party. I don't know whether they're going to do that. They're English. They're more reserved. They don't do such vulgar
Yeah.
things. Well, if they do, I certainly won't get to find out about it, will I? So there's that. And they haven't been chased by a bear yet, which is rather disappointing.
Oh, yeah. Well, you better keep that bear spray.
Yeah. No, I told
Yeah,
it. I said, you better watch out. I don't want to find out you've been eaten by a bear. You know, this is just
That's
not
right.
on. You can't go off and have fun and then get eaten. So don't do that. So fingers crossed that won't happen.
Yeah.
Just going back to the usury thing that Eric mentioned as well. And I think I sent you a message the other day. There's a chap here I just want to mention. Now, I don't think anybody here on this show will know of him, and he's no longer alive, but you knew of him anyway. I don't know, which was Bruce G. McCarthy.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And the backstory to this is that before I knew Eli, I was listening to him on Republic Broadcasting Network. This would be about 2012, 13, around about
Datum
that time.
Line.
Yeah.
Datum Line was his show. Yeah.
Yeah. What time was your show then on Sunday morning?
Well, his was like 7 a.m. and mine was like 8 a.m.
That's right. So 7 a.m. here was like midday. His 7
Okay.
a.m. Eastern or whatever was midday. So it was perfect. And I
Yeah.
used to listen to him. And he also wrote a book, which I've got here. You sent it to me, actually.
Yeah.
You did.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He was brilliant. He was a constitutional scholar.
Yep.
And he would confound the authorities, so-called authorities, left and right, because he knew the law, the Constitution so well. He could prove that they were always lying to us and cheating us.
Yeah.
And he was constantly fighting them in court, and he was always winning.
Yeah.
He knew how to win these cases.
Yeah, he's absolutely brilliant. It will probably mean nothing to you at the moment, but I mentioned to Eli that because you contacted his widow, and she kindly sent you recordings of all the shows of his that he had, didn't she?
Yes. Yes.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have diligently removed all the advertising breaks out of 164 episodes. And
Yeah.
at some point, we're going to start airing them on Food for Thought Radio, and I'll make them available to you as well, Eli, so that you can run them, because they're incredibly detailed, similar to the way that Graham Moore was about certain constitutional things that we were just talking about a couple of hours ago. But for those of you that have a yen, yes, I know this is kind of sort of esoteric stuff in a way, but it's not, because the principles of the sort of abuse of the Constitution in America are exactly the same as what's gone on here. They're echoes. They're on different scales and with different characters, of course. But yeah, he's quite brilliant. He really was. I loved that show with him. Loved your show more, of course, Eli, that came on afterwards. See what I did there?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's too bad that General Smedley Butler didn't have a show on RBN.
Yes, it is.
Have you guys got a version of Smedley Butler in the UK?
I don't think we
or
did.
as a racket?
I know of him.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll tell you what.
1934, wasn't it? Something like that?
Yes,
Something
it
like
was.
that,
Yeah, early 30s. Yeah, it's a brilliant booklet. Those things about that length, Eric, don't you think they're just about, they really work, don't they, when they're about that length?
Oh, yes. Yes. Amazing bloke. We got a modern, probably reincarnation of him, survival modern reincarnation of Smedley Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well-
Smedley Butler. Yeah.
Well, earlier this week over here, Eli and Eric, if you probably want to call it, but I basically cheekily sort of restream the Mike Graham show on Food for Thought at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's a good reason for me to get up early. And like I've said before, I don't agree with all of it. Some of the things are completely, totally 180 degrees in the wrong direction, but other stuff is right on point. He had a guy on, an ex-military guy, the other day. I think it was Tuesday morning. I've got the clip. It's about 18 minutes. I'm not going to play it in this show. It's far too long. But a guy called, can't remember his title. I think his surname was Watts. Watts, James Watts, something like that. It was brilliant. It was 18 minutes, and it was like he could be in this show right now. He was nailing everything about the cultural decay, and what he was talking about is that there are lots of ex-military over here, right? Quite a few, of which he was the current mouthpiece during this show. He's very good. I think he's been on before. And he was talking about the whole nature of the disease, and that this is long in the making. He mentioned the Fabians. He mentioned the whole thing. He said the whole system is absolutely rotten, and we are being intentionally divided into, the blue-haired, left-wing liberal crazies. Because, in spite of my obvious sort of revulsion at them, the fact is that a massive number has been done on people to get them into that condition.
Right.
I mean, it's just
absolutely.
massive. Yeah. Because they've gone through cultural Marxist university systems over here, just like they're doing in your neck of the woods as well, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, something really fantastic has happened here in America. It's called the FIFA. Am I pronouncing that right? FIFA World Cup.
Yes, the Federation International Football Association, blah, 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 blah. FIFA World Cup, yeah.
Right. So all of these European, although some of them are becoming immigrants because they've discovered America and they like it here so much that they're not going back.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, but we've been pouting about and touting the conspiracy theory that the mass media never tells the truth.
Yes.
No. They always tell the truth. Surely they do. Especially the BBC.
Are you sure about that, Eli? I thought they were rather an honourable lot.
Well, they're making their own personal videos saying, I couldn't believe how the BBC and European media have been lying to us about America being such a backward country.
Yeah. Yes, many of those videos I've been sort of, maybe it's like me sort of video grazing. I admit it, I do it. I found them really interesting. Well, they're from normal people, both Europeans that are out there, and they're going, America's nothing like it's presented to us on the news. Now, I've been a few times, so I've known that, right? Because, and they think that everybody out there wants to go to war or something. Okay, are you kidding? And they said, these are some of the friendliest people we've ever met. And I'm going, yeah, they're great. Probably not in New York, right, where they're all going mad.
No, not New York.
Not in New York or Chicago, or where it's just a complete sort of nut house, which is what it produces in people in these large cities. But across America, they're fantastic people, and they're really responding. So it's great. We're always interested, aren't we, in other people's views when they've been exposed to something. So I think it's brilliant that you've seen them as well, but they're great. And some have gone, America's nothing like we've told. Look at, they're all going on about the size of the portions. Look at what. There's some Japanese guy had bought some massive steak or something. He said, I cannot believe this.
Yeah,
It was it's like all these Christmases had come at once. You go, calm down, mate. It's only a burger. It was just, but
Look at the size of the pickup trucks.
Yeah, everything's
fit
pretty
30
big.
people.
It's pretty big out there, and it
yeah.
just it changes it. The other way, though, I bet maybe you haven't watched them. Is a lot of Americans doing these short videos as well, talking about how much fun it has been, for example, to have the Scots in Boston and stuff and places like this. They're going and they're laughing their socks off. They're going, "This is Boston," and they drank it dry.
Right.
Apparently, they drank 4 times as much beer in one weekend as is sold on St. Patrick's Day in Boston. 4 times
really?
as much. Yeah. They said this is absolutely apocalyptic beer drinking. It's just off the charts, and they were sending trucks up to Canada to get more. All the breweries couldn't make it fast enough. So he said, we've run out.
Well,
and one guy said, this is a good thing. This is a typical English quote. He said, have they got any beer? And he said, well, he said, they ain't got any beer. They've got Bud Light, but we can't drink that nuts piss.
No.
Like, no one can drink that,
That's forbidden.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, but Chicago always outdoes Boston because we actually dye our muddy Chicago River green for St. Patrick's Day.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
There's no other city in the world that does that.
No.
Right. But Chicago's not hosting a World Cup game.
No.
Because the city council didn't want to spend the money.
Big mistake, it would seem.
Right?
Yeah. Right. They might have been able to really, I think some of the bars have made so much money they don't have to work for about 6 months or something.
Yeah.
And there were all these things about the staff collapsing. One woman came out, she said, my staff are absolutely exhausted. They've got them on double shifts. They just can't serve the beer fast enough. It's hilarious. Yeah. It's way better than the football to me. I mean, it's and then there were a few tearful ones. There were quite saying, what are we going to do when they all go? It's so much fun. There's one guy walking around Boston going, it's been an absolute blast having these people here. He said, they're nothing like we're told on TV. It's the same thing, right? They're going, they're not like that. They're like us. They're just, that's right.
Yeah.
So I think that's been pretty cool.
Well, they see videos of Antifa and Black Lives Matter burning houses down and sucker punching, conservative people.
Yep.
And all the crime in the black neighborhoods. That's what they're seeing on television and hearing about. Well, I mean, that's only in the black neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Where the white people are, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's fine. Okay. So there's a rule. There's a rule of thumb. If you have 20 white people and you have one black person, there's peace.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 20 white people and there's a second black person, there's a riot.
Holy moly.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's the way it works. Okay? Yeah. Because once 2 black people get together, there's a riot. I'm sure you've seen the videos of people on Michigan Avenue, black people on Michigan Avenue getting on top of a car and stomping on the roof and smashing the windows and then just running away. Because nobody wants to bother trying to. Oh, and all the stores in Chicago that have closed down in black neighborhoods because they keep on stealing the shopping carts. Oh, by the way, some of these tourists have gone to places like Walmart and Costco and Sam's Club. The stores are bigger than London.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I've been in a couple. It was a long time ago. They must be even vaster than they were when I was there back in 2004 or something. They're just sort of stupidly big.
Yeah. Yeah. And Buc-ee's gas station.
Yeah.
Buc-ee's, it's got 100 pumps, right? And then there's the inside of it is just like another Walmart, right?
Yeah.
So people are just amazed by the size of everything, including the portions of the food. Oh, yeah. and free refills. Free refills of coffee and Coke.
Oh, yeah, there was an Italian guy. There was an Italian guy in a thing. So he drinks this Coke, and they come along and give him another one. He said, do I have to pay for that? They said, no, it's just free refills. So he just couldn't stop drinking it. He goes, stop it. It's not good for you. No, but it's free. It's just like mad, It's completely mad.
That's why Americans are so fat.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Yeah.
the English apparently are catching him
Well,
up. Apparently, I get these stats every and again. So blubbersomeness is going through the roof or
Right,
through the
that's
sidewalls over here. Do you have
Yeah,
blubbersome people where you are, Eric? Do you see whales?
Oh,
yeah?
blimey. Yes, we do. And what gets me is that you look in the supermarkets, it's all high carbohydrates
Oh, yeah.
everywhere. That's always is carbs. But I mean, I saw a very interesting video from, I don't know if you ever see the, what's his name there, Professor Edward Dutton. And he is in a place called Monrovia, which was part of the Soviet Union. I can't think.
Right.
Monrovia.
Monrovia, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's it's the poorest country in Europe.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
and he said the roads are a bit potholed, but he's in the capital city, and he said
Potholio.
yes, but he said there's not no litter anywhere. Everybody is from that area. There's no foreign people at all,
Mm-hmm.
and he said everybody's having a good time. And
Yeah.
he said they got folk music and things like. He said
There
you'd
you
never
go.
see this in London. He said it's really really good. And there's another chap who was in Iran to attend the funeral of the chappie that was bumped off by the Americans. And
Okay.
they've got all this great big sort of area, and all the food is free. People bring food along to give.
Yeah.
And he said he couldn't get over it. He said you just go to anywhere and just pick hold of the food and it's free.
Yeah.
We don't realise how
It's-
far we've moved away from good living, do we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He said, the people, he said, are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, for example, I once read a book about a chap that cycled around the world, and he was in India, and he collapsed. He had food poisoning or something, and he was
Oh,
taken
boy.
away by ambulance. And he thought, well, I'm never going to see my bike again. And when he was better, this is in the poorest area. I think it was
Right.
Calcutta or somewhere, or Bangladesh, one of the places.
Oh boy.
it is.
Yeah. India.
And when he came back, the bike was not only there, but someone had pumped his tyres up for him. He said he couldn't believe it, and they're absolutely poor. Yet he went to Hollywood, and he was mugged, and he's laying on the floor, and people are just stepping over him.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Well, that's L.A.
Yeah,
That's L.A. for you. That's socialism.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we call it California.
Oh, it is California, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I know somebody up in Jackson, which is north of California. I believe it's still California, but it's
Yeah.
very different because I know you've got different sort of
Oh, yeah.
counties within states.
Yeah.
But no, I think that we've lost something. We really have.
Well, you've had too much rule by bankers for what, 300, 400 years
that's
now?
right.
Yeah, it's a
Everything
disease.
is profit. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and
Well,
you've got a lot of people coming into the productive years of their life, i.e., past the age of 20 or whatever, who are going to be in the process of having the most enormous reality check they've ever had, because they've got, they just don't get it. They just think there's a sort of an endless well of money, and that if you've got it, you've got to give it to some unfortunate person. They don't sort of find out where this supposed misfortune comes from. No,
Right.
it's like it's Whitey's fault for causing it all. What? I mean, it's a bizarre chain of non-logic that they've taken on us, and you can't. We mentioned it here. It's not possible to talk with these people. Their brain's in a brain lock.
Right.
To such a degree, there's no point in them even having one. They're just sort of like tape recorders. They've imbibed this stuff. The whole university system is just a Marxist training camp. So that long march
That's
through
right.
the institutions, over here, earlier on, we were talking about the Fabians. I don't know if you've heard of them over here, but the Fabians.
Yeah, Fabian Society. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, they've produced
Webs.
every single sort of. It's a complete project to create the Labour Party, which is the slow
Right.
burn introduction of the shift from democracy through to
Right.
socialism, through to communism, which is now called globalism. But that's all it is.
Yeah.
The banker's ideal model for controlling everybody. It's and we've got a lot of things going on with cameras
Well, yeah,
over
they
here.
are.
You've got flock cameras over there, don't you? That everybody's kicking off against. Is that what's happening?
Yeah. People are cutting them down.
Right.
'Cause they don't want to. Our people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Good.
Oh, we've got Blade Runners over here, but
Yeah.
they're cutting down the what is called
5,000 they
ULEZ.
took down over in and around London at least,
Really?
and they're still
Really?
chainsaws.
Wow.
Yeah, 5,000. Yeah, they just won't
there
have
you
them. All these.
Yeah.
We don't want any of the stuff that they want to give us, and of course they're just finding other ways to around it and everything. So, but the
Well,
the heat's rising
the
in the
good news.
kitchen over here. Eli. I'm
Right.
telling you,
Oh,
you
for
can feel
sure.
it. You can feel it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, the good news is that people are fighting back any way they can before it actually turns into a full blown revolution. Okay,
Mm.
and that still may happen because I'm a conspiracy realist, not a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
I'm a conspiracy realist because every conspiracy idea that we've channeled on Eurofolk Radio and Speak Free and everything else has come true.
Yep.
Thanks to the Epstein files. Everything we've said about the Jew World Order has been proven by the Epstein files. Oh, and over here, you probably heard about the DOJ citing and suing the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center,
Yeah.
actually paying people to infiltrate the Klan and white nationalist movement to cause trouble
Yes.
and blaming it on us. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the conspiracy rag we used to talk about all the time. That's been proven true.
Yes.
So there's all conspiracy theories are true,
Yep. They
Okay.
are.
including the conspiracy theory that America is a washed up country. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
think
getting there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to
no.
Donald Trump.
Well,
Oh,
yeah, I
crumbs.
guess so.
And we got Trump worshippers in this country as well.
Really? Wow.
Yes. Yes. Oh, they think the sun shines out of his. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, and also, have you heard of a chap called Tommy Robinson?
Yes. Yeah. He's
Yes.
pro-Zionist.
Yes.
One of these fake patriots. Yeah.
That's right. And you go to most truth groups, and there'll be people with, oh, poor old Tommy.
Yeah.
They don't see a T-shirt that he wears. They don't see that who's paying him.
Right.
And
Yeah. Oh,
you know,
okay.
I came
Yeah.
across, by the way, just on that thing about America and what you were saying, the American Empire and all this kind of stuff, right? Because this is, I've got a fantastic article. I meant to actually sort of include it somewhere in the show. It's slightly too long, but I'm going to read a couple of sentences out of it because we've got about 5 minutes or so left.
Yeah.
A guy called Kit Knightley who writes on a site, or at least this article is called off-guardian.org. If you don't go there, everyone, you might want to. There's some extremely well-written articles, very much in our sort of area of concern. This was called "America Was Never the Problem," a 250th
Right.
Independence Day eulogy for a nation outgrown and discarded by the empire, exactly the same as what happened to these islands after World War II. All by design.
That's right.
And it just says, I'm not going to read it all, but there's a few little key points here at the beginning. It says, the Rocky Mountains were never the empire. Niagara Falls was never the empire. The Everglades were never the empire. The winding rivers of the Mississippi, Missouri, and Ohio were never the empire. The Great Lakes were never the empire. The empire was never Los Angeles or New York, Alaska, Texas, or Hawaii. The empire was never the Declaration of Independence, the Stars and Stripes, or the Constitution. None of the roughly 340 million people who live normal lives and just want to get on and be happy like everyone else were ever the empire. And it's exactly the same for here. Over here, none of us, the vast majority of people, were never the British Empire. It's complete crap, the whole thing. And it says America was never the problem, and the problem was never America. Raytheon was never America. Neither was Pfizer or Boeing or Lockheed Martin or Halliburton. The Pentagon was not America. Neither were the three-letter monsters of the CIA. Oh, they've come up again. NSA or DHS. The politicians who broke their oaths to the Constitution almost as soon as they swore them were never America. The lobbyists and profiteers who paid them were never America. I won't go on. I'd like to. It's a brilliant article.
Yeah.
It's really fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
I'll stick it. I'll post it in the chats everywhere because I've got the link to it here. It's definitely worth a read. It's not that long. I read about a quarter. Actually, I nearly finished the whole thing. Actually, it's not that long at all. But it's really making out the point that you get these labels again put on a thing, and it completely obscures the real view of what's actually taking place. You know, it's
Right.
America
Well, okay.
that are doing all these wars. No, it isn't. It's not. It never was.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you know as well as I do, all of the universities on planet Earth, none of them have any courses on how bankers finance wars.
Yeah.
There's no courses on that.
No.
And then but the textbook should be War is a Racket by Smedley Butler, right?
Yeah.
Every college student should read that book. Okay? Every college student should read that book, and then they have a grasp of economics
Yeah.
and war. Okay? So it's just amazing how they've been able to get away with this through control of mass media and telling lies all the time, and people believe the lies.
Yeah.
Come on, people, wake up.
Hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Wake up.
It's true. Yeah, it's absolutely true.
Yeah. So, but well, I was going to talk about that. I was going to, because I have Dan Bilzerian's telephone number, and we've been texting back and forth. So I was going to give him. Oh, there's a really great book about. It was Roosevelt's Zionism's $10 trillion secret, something like that.
Right.
Zionism $10 trillion secret, which actually has a lot of Christian identity material. I was blown away by Franklin Roosevelt's son-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
and it really exposes the game, right? How the Zionists stole Palestine from the Palestinians and gave it to the Zionist Jews, right? So it explains it all, and of course Roosevelt supported it. He knew what he was doing, and so did Harry Truman.
Mm-hmm.
So all you have to do is threaten, because the whole process works by threaten to assassinate people if they don't play the game, right? If they don't follow.
Seems to be a key part of it, Eli. You're absolutely right.
Oh, it's the main thing, because unless you know that every politician in America is afraid of losing everything, but the way they do it, if you've probably heard of the Elliot Ness and the Untouchables.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Elliot Ness was the guy who brought the mob down in the city of Chicago, and put a lot of them away. Okay. Well, the Untouchables were his staff, and the reason they're called the Untouchables is because they were young men who had no families.
Yeah.
And the reason he picked young men with no families is because the mob could not threaten to break the legs of your wife or daughter or sister or anything like that. These men had no family, so the only person they could threaten was the man, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he would be hiding out, and they couldn't get to him. That's what Elliot Ness did. That's what has to be done.
Elegant mess, we sometimes used to refer to him as.
Right? Yeah.
At school. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Eli,
well,
we've got the sound out music. We're winding down. It's been great having you on, and I'm sorry about it's been such a long gap. And I know it's been a sort of informal chit chat, but I've really enjoyed it. Actually. It's been really good stuff. Where can people catch you? You're on Eurofolk Radio at 3 o'clock UK time, aren't you? Every Sunday.
Every Sunday. Yeah, that should do it for now. I'm going to be back on FTJ soon, but that's going to be primetime America, like 7 p.m. So you'll all be asleep when I do that.
That's great. Thanks very much, Eli. Thanks everybody in chat tonight on YouTube and Rumble, and of course on fftradio.com. Glad you've spent your evening with us. I hope you get a nice night's sleep. It's very hot. We'll be back again same time next week. Till then, have a cracking week, and we'll see you later. Bye for now, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.